Welcome back everybody to the Dough Cooking Show, to the Dough Cooking Stream. I hope you're all having a beautiful Friday if you're currently watching this live. It is Friday, July 19th, 5 p.m. EDT, and I see that we have all of my lovely sous chefs in the chat. Hello to Turina, hello to Dragonfly, hello to Eliam, hello to Trashcan Cat Mom, welcome back Annie, hello to Underestimated Monkey, hello to Shy Chica as well. That's right, it is indeed Friday already, and it is lovely to have all of you. Welcome on in 17JAL. It is excellent to see all of you. So, hello, howdy. As a really quick heads up, as a little bit of a disclaimer, I am absolutely exhausted and sleep deprived. God forbid for my quote unquote day job as an esports commentator, I had to wake up at, you guessed it, 8 a.m. So I apologize if I'm going to be a little bit sluggish today. But everybody, I'm really excited about today's stream. I'm really excited about today's show. There's going to be a lot for us to talk about today. And to me, this is what I'm going to consider the pinnacle of home cooking. This is going to be stuff that is really, really cheap. The stuff that I am making today is inspired out of some of my existing leftovers that I had sitting in my fridge. That's right, Monkey. This is me being exhausted and tired. So I'm functioning at like 105 and not 150% capacity at all times. So everybody, the inspiration for today was, as always, the things that I've had in my fridge that I needed to use up before they went bad. Above all else, this is a home cooking show. These are the things that I want to eat inside of my home kitchen. These are the things that I want you all to get into the habit of eating as well. And so, my friends, today we're going to be doing a delicious red lentil soup as well as some freshly baked soda bread. It is going to be a homemade loaf of bread, and it is a soda bread. Soda bread is essentially like an Irish type of bread. It is made from a batter. There is no kneading, there is only light mixing, and it's super, super simple. There is no yeast, there is no other crazy leaveners besides baking soda, and it uses some buttermilk and a couple of other ingredients. I wanted to do a lentil soup today because I wanted some protein, but I'm tired of everything always necessarily being meat-based. Lentils are so delicious. Lentils are so cheap. Lentils are so easy to get into the habit of doing. And I love lentils to death, and I want to get cooking with more lentils. I don't want my sole source of protein to be exclusively from meats all the time. That gets a little bit expensive, and I quite frankly think that everybody should be making lentil soups at home. And so all of this started off today because I had a couple of leftover ingredients. These two were my big inspirations for today, everybody. I had some thyme and I had some parsley. And so I wanted to do something that featured both thyme and parsley before they went bad. I wanted to use them up before they went bad. And so I thought of doing a red lentil soup today. Parsley and thyme, I mean, you see them everywhere, especially in Greek cooking, parsley, everywhere in Middle Eastern cooking, and lentil soups are basically, global. Everybody has some sort of a form of lentil soup. So I have my parsley, I have my leftover thyme. I'm gonna go ahead and set those behind me. Next, everybody, why am I doing a soda bread today? Well, I wanted a bread that would be able to soak up and to be able to be paired with my soup exceptionally well. Making bread at home normally is a really big pain in the ass. It's not realistic in a weeknight setting, but everybody, there are ways to get fresh bread consistently in a home setting, and that is to do a soda bread. It is a batter-based dough. There is no kneading. It's just going to be some light mixing, and I had some kefir. Kefir is essentially like a Eastern European yogurt milk thing. It's really similar to buttermilk. I had some leftover kefir. I'm gonna have a little sip of it. Super delicious. And then I'm gonna be mixing this with buttermilk. And so the base recipe, the base dish that I'll be doing today is based off of the Serious Eats, whatchamacallit, soda bread. I had leftover kefir, and then I also bought some buttermilk to be able to compensate for it. This is nearing the end of its shelf life, and so I wanted to use this up before it goes bad. Remember, the best way to get into the habit of home cooking is to look at your fridge, see what you have available, see what's about to go bad, and use things up before they go bad, my friends. Okay, so I have some kefir. Next, let's talk about some of my produce for today. Everybody, this is all going to be going into the soup today. I have some lovely tomatoes, some lovely plum tomatoes. I have a carrot. I have some celery. I have some onion for the classic French Mirepoix. And then I also have a potato. The potato is something that I took direct inspiration from the Turkish lentil soup. The potato almost binds it all together. The starch in the potato really helps for a really smooth and consistent lentil soup. Instead of it separating where it's like all the mush on the bottom and all the liquid on top, it's gonna be nice and consistent. Okay, so I can go ahead and set that behind me nice and properly. Everybody, we have some red lentils. Now, you don't have to just use red lentils. For a lentil soup, you can either use A, red lentils, or B, yellow lentils. You don't want to use brown lentils or green lentils or black lentils. The difference between red lentils and yellow lentils versus this other category is that they're skin off. The skin doesn't blend all that easily. These lentils, they cook up super, super quickly. Brown lentils, green lentils, they're better for holding their shape. The point of red lentils is to basically turn into mush. So I have some red lentils. I'm gonna go ahead and set that behind me. I have some basic, plain old all-purpose flour. Nothing fancy, everybody, just some flour. This is gonna be for the bread as well. I also have a few dried chilies. This is going to be going into the soup today. These are just some Kashmiri chilies that my roommate has, and so I've decided to integrate them into my final soup today. So, everybody, that is the rough synopsis of the ingredients. We also have some baking soda for the soda bread. Again, this soda bread is not necessarily my recipe and my proportions. This is the soda bread that I've taken from Serious Eats, but it's gonna come out, it's gonna be delicious, and it's gonna be phenomenal. The whole point of this is that we get to use up a lot of our old leftover ingredients, and we get to make it really, really nice and special. So, everybody, are we ready to begin? I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, from everybody watching, please and thank you. We're going to be starting off by making the batter for the bread. My oven is preheated to 450 degrees. We're going to make the batter, bake the bread, and then we'll be making the soup while the bread itself is baking. Everybody, a little bit of housekeeping. If you haven't already done so, the best way to directly financially support the cooking show is through the Patreon. !Patreon in the chat, or you can scroll down into the About section if you would like to help me support doing this full time one day. As always, if you have any cooking questions at all about anything at all, please feel free to ask me. Monkey, you just asked me, when do you do groceries before streaming? I always do it the day before. Basically, when I stream, I plan my next stream the night of. The next day I do my shopping, and then the third day I end up doing the cooking stream. And also, everybody, if you'd ever like to see some of the components, if you'd ever like to see some of the ingredients that we have, always you can just type in !menu, or just feel free to ask me. So, also, really quickly, if you haven't already subscribed, that's also a nice way of supporting me. If you don't want to go directly to the Patreon, subscribing on the Twitch as well. Unfortunately, Twitch has raised the price of a subscription from $5 to $6. That is a little bit tragic, but any and all support there would be really appreciated. So, everybody, let's make the batter. You're going to see exactly just how easy it is to make this soda bread. The reason why I want to teach you all the soda bread, the reason why I want to be able to show this off, is because A, I wanted a freshly baked bread for my soup, and B, this is a bread that you can make on a weeknight. There is no leavening process, there is no yeast, there is no kneading that has to be done, there is no flouring a surface. It's basically made out of a batter. It's not going to have the exact crumb and chew of a sourdough or a white bread, but it's still going to be delicious, it's still going to be phenomenal, and you're all going to love it. So, everybody, let's go ahead and begin. And so, the best way to start, especially when we're doing any kind of baking, my friends, is going to be with a kitchen scale. And that is because when it comes to measuring things out by volume, sometimes there is error. Let's say in something like flour, you could pack it tightly, you could pack it lightly, and then you would have two very different actually amounts of product. So we're going to be using a scale today to just to help measure some things out, especially because I'll be working with the kefir and the buttermilk. And so we can just go ahead and begin that right now, my friends. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn on my lovely little scale here. We're going to go ahead and get a nice bowl as well as a strainer. And the first goal for us is going to be to sift the flour. We need to sift the flour so that we eliminate any excess clumps, my friends. Okay? Otherwise, we will end up with a dough that is really, really lumpy, and it's not going to be as homogeneous as it can be. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this on right here, as well as my strainer. Okay, and all that we're going to do is we're going to measure out, we're going to weigh out a certain amount of flour, and then we're going to go ahead and sift it. Again, my proportions, this is from the Serious Eats soda bread, and so that is what I'm basing my proportions and everything off of. Okay, all that we're going to do is we're going to tare it so that it goes back down to 0. Please, tare button, can we work? Am I crazy? Why is this not functioning? Or alternatively, we could also turn on the scale with something on it, right? So we can just turn off the scale and turn it back on, and then that should theoretically automatically tare it for us. Okay, so the tare button did not actually seem to be functional. Let's go ahead and get this into some proper ounces. And we're going to need about 15 ounces of flour, my friends. Okay, I believe my proportions are 15 ounces of flour and then 18 ounces of buttermilk plus kefir all combined together. So let's go ahead and measure that out now. Let's go ahead and and everybody, if you don't have a kitchen scale, really do highly advise investing into one. Okay, 15 ounces of flour gonna be going right in. So it seems like we're already 5 ounces. That's 8 ounces. Wait, actually, was that not even 1 ounce of flour? I seem to have lied to all of you. Okay, it's a little bit tricky because I'm not going directly off of, I have to like go off of like my stream view to be able to understand like how much of something I'm putting in. I'm actually gonna need a good amount of this bag, 14.3 ounces, almost done a little bit more. Give it a little shake, and that should be perfect. 15 ounces of flour. And oh gosh, yeah, the Microsoft CrowdStrike thing, that thing is crazy. Airports everywhere are basically, you know, shutting down. It is insane what's happening. So everybody, now all that we're going to go ahead and do is just sift the flour. Why do we sift the flour? Why do we go through this step? Look at all of the clumps in the flour that comes from the humidity that is in the air. And those clumps of flour, they make it really difficult for you to get a nice even dough. So by sifting the flour, we're going to make sure that everything mixes in as evenly as possible. Okay? So go ahead and just sift it, and you can see all of those little humid clumps of flour, and then we have all of this pillowy, beautiful, soft dough, my friends, all that pillowy, soft flour. Okay, I could probably take a spoon to that if I really wanted to. Otherwise, we could just keep on shaking for the time being. Just keep giving it some shakes, press it through. Again, this flour isn't bad or anything. The only thing that you can do here is just try to break it up a little bit. And if these clumps are too hard, then we can ultimately discard them. And that would be more than fine too. But I have a feeling that it's all gonna work out just fine. I'm just going to press it through. I think a spoon might have been the ideal choice of tool, but ultimately I think that is all worked out. And I'm gonna go ahead and just really quickly make sure that I have dusted off the rest of the flour, my friends. Get it all off, get it all out of there, get it all off, get it out. And I think that should be all ready to go. And I can go ahead and put this away now. Okay, so this I'm just going to quickly rinse off. I'm going to get all of the flour off of this bad boy and throw this into my dishwasher while we have a second of time. So everybody, please bear with me. And so the next step is this. So everybody, this might seem a little counterintuitive. Why did we just take out the scale if I'm not going to use it to measure out the weight of my baking soda? And there's a very good reason for this. This scale does not do a good job with telling you like the exact, like if you need like 0.5 grams of something, if you need 2 grams of something. They have a pretty big margin of error. When it comes to measuring a lot of flour at once, when it comes to measuring a lot of buttermilk at once, it'll do a really good job. But unless you have a really like professional grade scale that is really good at measuring very small amounts of something, it's typically better to actually use volumetric measurements for things like baking soda and salt. So once again, this scale is not sensitive enough for baking soda and salt because of how little the amount that we need to add actually is. And so I'm going to be using a teaspoon. We're going to need about 1.1 teaspoons of baking soda, going to be going right inside. Or in my case, we could also just do like a heaping teaspoon. Okay, so let me just also double check that my proportions are correct in this case. Yep, it's going to be exactly 1 1/8 teaspoons of baking soda, my friends. And so we do the dry ingredients separately. Why do we do the dry ingredients separately? Because we get to mix all of the dry ingredients before we add the wet ingredients. John Dahlia, thank you so much for the sub. Hope you're having an amazing day today. Thank you. So I'm going to try my best to try and get some baking soda out of this thing, probably waste a little bit in the process of doing so. The spoon is not going to be able to actually fit. I'm going to put that back inside. Maybe I'll just use a 1/2 teaspoon measure. I think that should be able to fit inside a little bit better at least. Okay, so let's see. Baking soda, please. Yeah, there you go. So that's 1/2 teaspoon. And then we're going to do another 1/2 teaspoon. And then we just need 1/8 of baking soda afterwards, which is not a lot. I just have a 1/4 teaspoon measure right here. I'm gonna do roughly half of this. Also remember, this is a soda bread. This is not an exact perfect little sourdough where you have to control every single variable. Everybody, this is a soda bread. Soda breads are kind of supposed to be a little bit rustic. These are not the kinds of things that were traditionally made with people measuring out every single last ingredient. Okay, so we can absolutely eyeball this a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in that amount of baking soda. That was, again, 1 1/8 teaspoons or so. And then we're going to go in with almost like 2 teaspoons of kosher salt as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my kosher salt out. Where's my box of kosher salt? That's my diamond crystal kosher salt. Or actually, I think I could just use this little scoop. And we're gonna need 1 3/4 roughly, but again, it doesn't really matter too much. And so, everybody, soda bread is so easy, it is so simple. The dough is almost done at this stage, right? So that's 1 teaspoon going in, and then a few little things. So, teaspoons and cups are not good units of measurement, but Klaatu, I need you to understand this. We are using teaspoons and volumetric measurements for the small ingredients, right? The reason why we're doing so is because most scales are not sensitive enough. They're not sensitive enough for small quantities. So I use my scale and I weighed out, I weighed out my ingredients for the flour itself. And then if you're talking about more so specifically using milligrams and milliliters, well, my cups and tablespoons, they don't necessarily come with those measurements. So I agree that grams and milliliters, they would be the best. Okay, but in my case specifically, you need a very good quality professional scale to be able to measure out very small quantities. This scale is best suited for a lot of something. So I use this to weigh out the flour, but I'm not using it to weigh out the baking soda and the salt as a result. And so that might seem counterintuitive, but there's a very good reason for that. Okay, so everybody, next, at this stage, you cannot over whisk it. I'm going to say it again. At this stage, you cannot over whisk it. You can only over mix it once you add in the wet ingredients, because then it begins developing gluten. You need to make sure that you have no pockets of baking soda, that you have no pockets of salt. Everybody, I need to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please, and thank you. I need you all to understand that there is no way that you can over mix it, but you can absolutely under mix it. So go thoroughly mix in the salt, because if you have a pocket of baking soda, that means that there's going to be chunks of it that will not actually leaven and rise properly inside of the oven. It is so important that you mix this for I'm talking like a minute. So go all the way around. It's not about just mix that for a few seconds until it's combined. Mix this like your life depends on it, my friends. And really important, you want to use a bowl that seems like it's slightly too big. Okay? A bowl that is slightly too big is going to be perfect for a case like this. Okay, because we still need to be able to accommodate the rest of the ingredients, the buttermilk and the kefir that's going to be going in. Okay, so getting in there, making sure that you're getting the side, that you're getting the bottom of it, my friends. Make sure that it's all nicely whisked up. Once again, you can't under whisk it, but you can't over whisk it, but you can definitely under whisk it. Mix those dry ingredients like your life depends on it. This is one of those things that home cooks do not do enough of. They think just because it's all white, the sugar and the flour gets combined after a few mixes. Not at all. Do not under whisk it. You have to go in, you have to get in there, break it up, get all of that salt, get all of that baking soda nice and evenly across. So mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. I know I'm being a little bit extra, but this is one of the times where it's really, really important. Okay? So, there you go. Excellent, lovely, beautiful. In fact, that is now nice and whisked. I am extra. That's right, underestimated monkey. I am a little bit extra. So let's go ahead and measure out the wet ingredients. So this is where I'm going to be taking out the scale once again. I'm going to be turning it off so that we can tell it, because the tell button didn't seem to function. I'm going to go ahead and grab another bowl. Let's go ahead and turn this bad boy on. Okay, and now we're going to need, I believe, 18 ounces in total of buttermilk and kefir. Okay, so once again, why am I using kefir? Why am I combining the two? It's because I had leftover kefir in my fridge. And so I wanted to use it up before it goes bad. That is the essence of home cooking, my friends. That is the most important thing that I am here to teach all of you. So let's add in all of my leftover kefir. That is about 3 ounces of kefir, it seems, 3.5 ounces. And then the rest of it is going to be buttermilk that'll be coming on in. Okay, so this I'm going to go ahead and recycle. And let's go and get my buttermilk out of the fridge. And buttermilk, all that is, it's just a cultured product. It's been a little bit fermented. It is the byproduct of actually making butter. And then they basically add in a couple of bacterial cultures. How much fat is in that kefir? I have no idea. I have no idea at all, quite frankly. So, buttermilk. And so we need to get in total 18 ounces. How many ounces do I have in here in this entire thing? 946 milliliters. I don't know how much that is in ounces at all. So let's just go ahead and pour it in. And we need to pour this, we need to actually give this a really, really good shake. It's gonna be a little curdled, it's gonna be a little bit clumpy. That is normal for a buttermilk, my friends. It's not as smooth as a kefir. Just shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. Okay? And then let's go ahead and pour this bad boy in. There you go. That's no longer as lumpy. That's no longer as clumpy. Okay, we're ready. Is that 10 ounces? That seems like so much more. Oh my gosh, because that was the wrong unit. That was not ounces at all. That is 2 pounds. Uh-oh. That was the wrong measurement entirely. It's been a long day, okay? I just got a little bit annoyed. So what do? We go and we take a different bowl. We're going to tally this bowl again. We're gonna go back. This is why we measure everything separately, by the way, just in case in times like these. Okay, that should be nice and tailored now, hopefully. Excellent. And then I'm going to pour this until I get the desired amount. Please, correctly this time. That's 13, and that's gonna be 15, and we need 18 in total. So 18 is gonna be 1 pound and 2 ounces. A little bit more, a little bit more. That's 1 pound and 3 ounces. I think that's just gonna be okay. It's not gonna make it that wet. I am a little bit tired, that's right. Okay, I'm sorry. It's been a long day, everybody. I had to wake up early. I had to cast esports this morning. I got a lot more bowls to clean now than I initially anticipated, which I think is a little bit annoying. And yeah, that's definitely going to be slightly too much kefir. So I'm going to go ahead and just portion some of it back out. And that's okay, everybody. That's what happens when you cook at home sometimes. I'll repackage it. I'll put it back into something else. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll take a little bit out. Take a little bit out, and there we go. That should now be exactly what we need. Okay, what did I cast? What game? Today I did some Brawlhalla commentary. Did some Brawlhalla commentary for Southeast Asia, and then I'm gonna be on the whole weekend. And so, Sunday stream is not gonna be happening at 5 p.m. Sunday stream is gonna be at 7 p.m. Okay. I think now I have all of my ingredients properly measured out. McCree, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Hope you're having an excellent day today. I'm doing quite well. We're making a little bit of soda bread. We're gonna make some lentil soup as well. And then everybody, before we make the batter itself, all that we're going to do right now really quickly, we're going to go ahead and get a nice, big, beautiful Dutch oven. This is where we will be baking the bread inside. Okay, and then I'm gonna be lining the bottom of this with some parchment paper. The parchment paper is going to make lifting out the bread super easy. It's going to stop it from sticking to the Dutch oven. And the reason we're using a Dutch oven is because it really holds in the heat. Normally with a battery dough like this, it can be quite tricky to bake, but a Dutch oven goes such a long way in times like these. Okay, so this is a blue Dutch oven. This is my roommate's Dutch oven. We're gonna be using the black Dutch oven for the red lentil soup today. Okay, just to make it abundantly clear that I would never own blue kitchen equipment. Okay, so here we go. And it just has to be in a way that it'll sit. You want to make sure that your edges are like slightly smoothed out. Okay, so something like this. Excellent. I can go ahead and just put that behind us for just a moment in time, everybody. And now the goal is to be able to incorporate all of our wet ingredients into all of our dry ingredients. We're going to go ahead and grab a nice sturdy silicone spatula. What is a nice sturdy silicone spatula? I think something like this is going to be just fine. Okay, silicone spatula because it doesn't stick as much, I feel like, comparatively. And all that we're going to do is we're going to mix this until it is nice and combined. Okay, so Yeah, that'll work out. That'll be great. And so everybody, now is when you need to make an executive decision. How chewy do you want your bread to be? The more that you mix it, the more chewy that it's actually going to become. But the more that you mix it, the higher of a chance that you do end up with a not as well leavened dough. So people like to go for a bit of a middle ground. Because of the fact that I'm going to be serving this with a soup today, I would like my soda bread to be a little bit more on the chewy side. I want this to feel like a nice, delicious slice of bread. Okay, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to just start adding in all of my wet ingredients into the dry, my friends. Into the dry it goes. Get every single last part of it, and then we're going to get all of the wet scooped up with the spatula, and then we're going to just mix it all in until it's nicely and evenly combined. So again, you really want to be careful not to overly mix it. I'm going to show you exactly how long we mix this batter for, we mix this dough for, and it's all going to come together before you know it. So mix it up. I toss some flour over the side, so please make sure to mix this gently, my friends. Cybergoth fruits, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Just mix it in, mix it in, mix it in, mix it in. I am now wondering how much flour did I actually end up putting into this. Oh my God, everybody, did I end up using too much flour? Well, if anything, we'll add a little bit more wet ingredients. I think that I might have messed up on using the scale, low-key, now that I'm thinking about it and I'm looking at this dough, and I'm like, this is definitely too dry. This dough is definitely too dry. I don't know how it ended up happening. Actually, no, never mind. Look, it's all coming together. It's all doing exactly what it needs to do. I have a feeling that that is the consistency that I'm sort of shooting for. I'm going to go ahead and cross-reference this. Yeah, everybody, that is the consistency that we want. It's tacky, it's wonderful, and now the only thing that we really need to do, work out any of the big clumps, make sure that you have no streaks of buttermilk, and the more that you mix it at the stage, just remember the tougher and the chewier that it's going to be. I'm going for a slightly chewier dough than a lot of other people's soda breads, and that's because I would like to serve this with a nice delicious soup. And that's kind of it. That's basically it. That is all of the work that this dough really, really needs. So I'm going to scrape down the sides. I'm going to make sure that I'm getting the bottom. I'm going to mix this through a few more times, right? But ultimately, I have a feeling that this dough is basically all ready to go for my purposes today, my friends. Just that simple, just that easy. All of it ended up coming together quite well. Wonderful. Excellent. And I'm just folding it over itself. I'm checking for any clumps. I'm checking for any streaks of buttermilk. But honestly, everybody, that's perfect. It's supposed to look a little bit too wet. It's supposed to look like somewhere in between a batter and a dough. That is exactly where I need it to be. And so we can now go ahead and pour this into our Dutch oven. So let's go to the stove. In that case, I'm going to get rid of this guy because this guy is going to be used for the lentil soup today. And we're going to go ahead and get this guy nice and ready to go today, my friends. Okay, parchment paper in there, and so important, please pour it into the parchment and not into the Dutch oven. You will end up making a really, really huge mess if you pour it not directly inside of the parchment. So I think I should actually no, this is fine. This angle is totally fine. I'm scraping it in, I'm using the spatula, I'm getting it all in, all of it in, my friends. Let's not waste any of this lovely dough that we've just made together, okay? Get it all in, get it all inside, get it all in, get it all in. Okay, so once again, this is 18 ounces of combined kefir and buttermilk. You could just use buttermilk. The reason why I'm using kefir is because I had some leftover. It's about 1 1/8 teaspoons of baking soda, and then it is, of course, almost like 2 teaspoons worth of salt. Okay, so get that all inside, my friends. Get it all inside, get it all inside, get all of this lovely batter inside. Okay. And I still have a few more little drops that I could end up pouring in. And this is not going to come out exactly quite like a loaf of sourdough, my friends. It's going to be a little bit more dense. It's going to be a little bit more crumbly, but it's still going to be delicious and chewy at the end of the day. So that's going to be the majority of that. That looks perfect. I think that looks quite good. And yeah, some people, they definitely do sweet soda breads. So absolutely feel free to experiment with that. Okay, so all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to slightly smooth out the top. And last but not least, everybody, we are going to make some incisions into it. If you're a baker, you would be using a razor. In my case, I'm just going to be using a chef's knife. We're going to squirt And in the process of squirting it, that helps it to expand in the oven. If you don't squir it, what ends up happening is the top of it ends up cooking up a little bit too quickly and it doesn't expand correctly. So, nice sharp knife. We're going to go in, make an incision just like so, and then we're going to go ahead and make another incision all the way through, like we're squirting any other piece of dough, my friends. And that's it. That's all of the work that we needed to go ahead and do for this dough. That is it. That is literally just how simple it is. There is no kneading. It's made out of leftover ingredients. And now the only thing that needs to happen, 450 degrees for about 40 minutes or so, until it comes out and it's nice and delicious and perfectly cooked. So making sure that that's sitting in there nice and evenly. Something like that, something like this. Excellent. And I'm gonna go ahead and throw the lid on. And into the oven this goes, my friends. 450 degrees for, I believe it's gonna be 40 to 45 minutes, right? Yeah, 45 minutes, then we take off the lid, and then it's gonna be another 12 minutes just to be able to get a nice crust on it. So, soda bread in a Dutch oven, that's right. Sorry to all of the Irish people watching. In the Dutch oven, into the oven this now goes, my friends. 45 minutes and then 12 minutes without the lid. Lid on at the stage, into the oven she goes. And I have burnt the side of my arm in the oven, and that is totally okay. That happens to the best of us sometimes. It gives you a bunch of cool chef scars. Timer on, 45 minutes, and let it bake, and let it do its thing. So again, why am I teaching you this? Why am I showing this to you? Well, the goal is to be able to get fresh bread in a home setting. One of the biggest tragedies of home cooking is how much effort it is to make bread. You have to knead it, you have to roll it, you have to let it rise, you have to proof it, you have to do all these different things. And so I am here to show you it doesn't actually have to be that way. Everybody, the bread is in the oven. That is literally all of the work that we needed to do for the bread. It is just that simple. 45 minutes, 450 degrees. Take off the lid, another 12 to 15 minutes until the top of it is nice and crusty. Now, I'm gonna be taking out a couple of things. I'm gonna be putting a couple of things into my dishwasher. Everybody say it with me. When you cook at home, you clean as you go. I want to see everybody in chat type, you clean as you go. So everybody, what do we do when we cook at home? I want to see a nice answer from everybody watching, please, and thank you, as I clean up and I put away a couple of things that we no longer need today. That's right. I like to see all those clean as you goes. That's good. That's good. I like it when you all listen to me. Excellent. Okay. Taking out a couple of things out of the fridge, everybody. Please forgive me. I also have a seltzer that my lovely roommate so graciously bought me. I'm a very big seltzer guy, so I'm going to be sipping on that throughout today for sure. Okay. I also, for some reason, I've run out of my black gloves, so I'm going to be using blue nitrile gloves and not my black nitrile gloves. I know, tragedy. C-A-U-G, clean as you go. That's right. So I got a dirty bowl, I got a dirty spatula. Let's go ahead and clean them up. Everybody, especially when it comes to batters and doughs. If you're baking, if you've ever baked, you know how insane it is to clean dough that has already dried. When the dough is wet, that is the time to strike. Lick it, it's just buttermilk and raw flour. That's not all that appealing to just lick it. Guys, clean now, and you will thank yourself later. Clean now or forever hold your peace. And let me tell you right now, nothing is going to be peaceful when you have to start cleaning off dried, stuck dough, dried, stuck batter, off of your spoons, off of your bowls. It is one of life's most unpleasant sensations. Okay, so get it done now. Get it done even if we're live on stream, even if we're live on camera. Because guess what? I don't have a professional kitchen. I'm the one that is doing my dishes at the end of the day. I don't have somebody to clean up after me. And so as a result, I have no desire whatsoever to be spending so much time cleaning up a bunch of nonsense. Okay, so you see the batter? You see this? Now is the time to clean. Go now, my friends. Go now, do it live. Okay, and get it done while it is in the oven. This is called passive time versus active time. While we're making the dough itself, that's called active time. We're busy and preoccupied. While the dough is in the oven, we have something called passive time. So don't go sit down. Don't go, try to relax on your phone for a little bit. The time to clean is yesterday. Okay, so clean it and clean it and clean it and get it all done so that you do not make your life hell later on. Okay? Keep up the momentum. You've built up a little bit of momentum for yourself. Let's go ahead and just keep that going. I'm going to try my best to get all of this batter off of the bowl. and stick it in the dishwasher. Excellent. Beautiful. Gorgeous. Let's go ahead and stick this bad boy inside. And let's get rid of my whisk as well while we got it, my friends. Okay. Get it all done. Get it all out of here. Get it all taken care of. Once again, cleaning as you go is the most important thing that I can teach you. I hate doing dishes. I hate doing it, but I am here to make it as easy and as painless as possible. I'm here to make that process as accessible for all of you. Okay? So, getting rid of this, getting all that batter off of my knife that we used to score the soda bread with. And also, everybody, at the end of the day, it's a soda bread. These kinds of things, they're a little bit difficult to actually mess up. They are meant to be home food. They're really, really simple. Hey, Chad, I'm currently making dinner and cleaning. What did I miss just now? Dosky, that's a great question. What about cleaning tomorrow? No, not at all. Everybody, you want to start off with a nice clean kitchen. You want to start off with a clean kitchen, and you want to get that stuff down now, honestly. Okay? So, I have 2 bowls of buttermilk. I'm going to be using one of these bowls today, so I'm just going to go ahead and give this bad boy a quick little rinse off. Get all that buttermilk, get all that kefir off of him. Get him out of here. We have no use for him anymore. And we're just still going to be using him to scoop up some of the vegetables that we need later on. And last but not least, I have my bowl, which contains all of my excess buttermilk. The veggies look so good, the tomatoes look so juicy. Oh yeah, those are some excellent quality produce, and they're gonna be transformed into a beautiful lentil soup. Radion, welcome on in, it is lovely to have you. And once again, everybody, if you have any cooking questions, especially as I am cleaning up, this is the best time to ask me. All that's happened is we've made the dough for the bread, that's all that we have going on at the moment, and then we are going to begin actually making the lentil soup itself. The lentil soup is the start of the show, and the bread is there to purely assist us. I'm gonna find a way to be able to get my buttermilk back inside of the bottle. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but the answer is with courage. So let's see if it works out. And the answer is, oh yeah, I got a nice steady stream. I got a nice steady flow. I have somehow managed to pour buttermilk back into the bottle it came from with minimal spilling. Minimal, not perfect, not actually all that amazing, but you know what? I gotta say that is pretty close. I've managed to waste as little of it as possible. Not the best, not optimized, but given that we accidentally poured out too much, I think that is the best possible outcome that we could have asked for. And so I'm gonna need to figure out what to do with the buttermilk in the next stream, because I don't really know what to use buttermilk for all that much, besides of course baking purposes, but we'll figure it out. So that's gonna be probably for Sunday that I'd wanna use this little guy up. Okay. Let's get my buttermilk back on into the fridge. And then I'll rinse off my other container. And then I believe we can begin with all of the vegetable prep. We have a lot of different things that we need to get done today, my friends. Today is gonna be a busy stream. We're gonna be making everything from scratch, our soup from scratch, our bread from scratch. And so that will of course demand a lot of care and love and attention. Washing off my buttermilk bowls. Everybody, I'm trying to get better at using as few bowls as possible when I cook, and so cleaning them as I go before the food is dried off and reusing them for something else has been something that has helped me out quite a bit. All right, Serena, thank you for being here. It was lovely to have you. Alfredo sauce with buttermilk? Oh, that would be really, really interesting. I wonder how that would work out. I mean, I guess it would just work out fine. So, soda bread is inside of the oven. It is now time for us to make our mirepoix. It is time for us to do a vegetable base that is going to be the base for today's excellent soup. But before we begin, I'm going to have a little sip of my seltzer because I think I deserve some. I love seltzer so much. I love seltzer to death. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about our vegetables for today's lentil soup. So what do I have here? These are going to be what is called the mirepoix, my friends. The mirepoix is a concept in French cooking. It is a trio of celery, carrots, and onion. And you see it be used everywhere because onions, they provide that delicious allium sweetness, carrots provide that earthiness, and celery provides that herbaceousness. In general, you see this used all over Europe. You see this also used in so many different cuisines. But everybody, This is a lentil soup. You are allowed to make this according to your own standards. This is a vegetable soup. This is meant to be cheap and easy and accessible. So feel free to do any kind of vegetables that you would like for this. In my case, I wanted a bit more of a classic flavor profile, and so carrots, onions, and celery. Okay, the potato is gonna help thicken it. The tomatoes will chop up later. I'm gonna put these bad boys behind me. Everybody, let's begin doing my vegetable prep. I'm gonna go ahead and tie up my hair. And I'm going to show you how to process and break down all of these vegetables. So some of these vegetables will get blended in, and some of them will just be purely sauteed so that we can get a little bit of bite out of them still. I'm going to put on some gloves. I'm not looking for a completely homogeneous soup today. I'm looking for something that is basically half blended, is ultimately what I'm trying to get at. Looking for something that is half blended so that it has a little bit of heterogeneity to it, so that we still have a little bit of texture, and so that it is not just basically completely consistent and pureed. You don't have to blend it at all if you'd like. You can also fully blend it. It is entirely up to you. Everybody, this is a vegetable soup. Have fun. Go crazy with it. So, in my waste bowl, as always, whenever you cook at home, everybody, you have to have a waste bowl. That is where we put all of our scraps. We're going to peel my lovely carrot. We're going to get all of that skin off of it. So peel it up and peel it up good. This is not the world's freshest carrot. It's a bit of a whatever carrot, but it's a carrot at the end of the day. So there's not that much crazy prep that you need to do to these bad boys. So peel it up, peel it up, peel it up. Oh, excuse me. Peel it up. Get it all out of there. Okay. Peel it up, peel it up, peel it up, and peel it up, peel it up, peel it up. And then we're also going to be cutting off the dried off top and bottom of the carrot, my friends. So, nice sharp peeler. If you want a nice sharp peeler and yours is struggling, throw it away. You can't really sharpen a peeler, right? If yours isn't functional, just go and get the next cheapest one. Peelers are not meant to be expensive. They're meant to be disposable kitchen tools. So, I'm going to slice off the dried off top and bottom. If you would like, you could use this in a chicken stock and a vegetable stock. I'm not planning on making one for quite some time, so I'm simply going to be discarding mine. And so, everybody, all that I need to do is to obtain the dice of my desires. For my vegetable soup, I'm envisioning small dice. I don't want a fine dice, I don't want it to completely melt in, but I don't want massive chunks of carrot either. So, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about exactly how to process this carrot. This carrot's a little bit too long right now. So, we're going to go ahead and slice it in half lengthwise. And everybody, I need your full attention. The most important thing when we do this process is we slice and we don't chop. We slice and we don't chop, and I'm going to explain to you why. Everybody, watch this. Let's say we wanted to cut this carrot into planks. This is what you don't do. This is a chop. Straight down. Ready? And oh, what happened? The knife popped out. We didn't get a flat plank of carrot. We got a little wedge of it instead. Because if you go vertically down, especially on hard food, your knife does this. It wants to exit. It cleaves out. Instead, sharp knife, really nice sharp knife, slice it. You can do tip to base, base to tip. That's entirely personal preference. Grab the knife, my friends, and slice it down. And that way, we obtain a nice, beautiful plank of carrot. Ready? Watch this one more time. And slice it down. Beautiful plank of carrot. Ready? Take it and slice it down using the full length of the knife. That's how we get beautiful planks and no sloppy wedges. Okay? So, let's go ahead and get one last little slice, if possible, from this bad boy. Slice it, slice it, slice it, slice it all the way through. Excellent. And let's go ahead and do the same one. I can see that the carrot is a little bit old. Yeah, that carrot, you can tell like how soft it is. But guess what? It's a vegetable soup. And vegetable soups do an amazing job of using up old carrots. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and slice it. Yeah, it's not the world's firmest carrot by any means. We're going to just continue slicing this. Please, not that guy. I should probably create a little bit more space for myself. Just slice it into planks. Slice it into planks. Beautiful. Slice it into planks. But that was a very good observation, Monkey. That was very, very astute of you. I'm pretty impressed that you were able to pick up on that. Wow. Yeah, nice. I kind of want to let that slide. I was curious if anybody would notice that it was like, you know, a little old, a little bit soft. But that's okay. You know me, I like them older. Sorry. Everybody, we have planks. So you know what happens now? We have to go ahead and cut it up into batons. We go from planks into some nitrate sticks, and then we'll be able to go ahead and get some beautiful cubes. So cut it up into batons. Here we go again. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize sincerely. Okay, it happens to the best of us. So let's go ahead and cut this bad boy up into some nice batons, into some nice batons, into some batons, into batons, and into batons one last time. Beautiful, and a couple more. Okay, let's go ahead and get it done. Let's get it all nice and processed. The bread is a baking at the moment. It is doing its thing. It's baking. It's going to come out. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be delicious. Batons, guys, look how perfect, look how consistent my batons are. And guess what? You can do it too. You can also achieve perfect batons if you go slowly and you pay attention to your technique. I am by no means a professional. I am amateur professional. I've been cooking my whole life, but anybody is capable of these kinds of knife skills. Again, you do not necessarily need to be a professional trained prep chef to be really, really good at something like this. Not at all, my friends. So guess what? We have all of these lovely sticks. We have all of these lovely batons of carrot. We're just going to go ahead and take a pile of sticks at once. Okay, bundle them up. A little bundle of sticks. And then we're gonna go ahead and cut them up into some nice little cubes. And again, I'm pursuing a small dice today. This is what I would consider a small dice, but feel free to cut this to the exact size that you would like. Okay? That's right, I was at a cooking show once, but you know, I'm just not like a restaurant chef per se, right? That's what I meant more so when I said, oh, you don't have to be a professional chef. I've been cooking for a very long time though. Is a lardon the same as a baton, but shorter made from meat? That's a really good question. And my answer is I do not know. I don't know the actual French classifications for the different knife cuts. A brunoise and a julienne and all of that stuff. That is not my forte. So everybody, into my transfer bowl it goes. And we're going to go ahead and repeat this with all of our carrot. Okay, I bought this carrot. It was just a plain old, cheap old carrot, and my goal was to obtain a bunch of really delicious lentil soup. I love lentil soup because it is cheap, it is filling, it is so good for you, and everybody should be eating more lentils. I don't really like the amount of meat that I eat. I feel like I eat a lot of meat, and I want to be able to get protein sources from other places. And so, I want to be able to integrate more lentils into my everyday diet, my friends. Okay, and so that is where a lot of this today is coming from for me. Okay, so that carrot got beautifully cut up. Let's go ahead and get this in 2 more bundles. Lardon in a French accent. Yeah, that's right. I don't really know the difference between a brunoise and a batonette and all of that. All I know is small dice, medium dice, fine dice, large dice, and then going from there. I eat so much canned lentils. So here's the thing, 17 Jal. I really do not like canned lentils. We only do this from dried lentils. Because canned lentils, you are buying so much water weight, and at least compared to beans, lentils, they cook up so easily. Everybody can cook lentils. Everybody can make lentils. They're so easy, they're so consistent, they're a cheap staple, they're sold everywhere. Everybody should be cooking with dried lentils. Canned lentils, they do not have a place in my kitchen, and they really do not, especially if you're making another dish with them, they don't actually save you all that much time and convenience, aside from potentially soiling your lentils. Okay? Yeah, split lentils, red and yellow lentils, they take no time at all. Everybody, exclusively dried lentils in this stream. Exclusively dried lentils. Should I buy my own lentils and soak them? Absolutely. But 17 Jal, the only lentils you need to soak are green, black, and brown lentils. Red and yellow lentils do not need to be soaked. Okay, just for full clarification. You want to soak brown, black, and green lentils so that you make the skin more flexible, so it doesn't explode as it cooks. But because red and yellow lentils have the skin peeled off of them, right? Guys, green, brown, and black lentils, if you peel them, they'll look like orange, yellow, and red lentils on the inside. Red and yellow lentils are made from the brown, green, and black lentils. So, celery, I'm going to cut off the dried off top and the white bottom. Just cut them off, get them out of here. The white bottom doesn't have a lot of flavor, and then the dried out parts aren't always the nicest to eat. And so everybody, we're gonna be cutting this almost in exactly the same way that we did the carrot, which is we're gonna section this off, we're gonna cut this into planks, into batons, so on and so forth. So, grab that bad boy, and now, the way that I like to do, I like to just take it and I like to rotate it as I cut it, and this way I basically immediately get batons. Some of them are going to be more rectangular than others. Just try your best to follow the natural curvature of the celery to obtain a bunch of these like half plank, half batons. And everybody, also keep in mind, this is a vegetable soup. You don't have to be the world's best, prep chef guy to be able to do this, okay? It's a vegetable soup. Some of it is gonna get blended up. The knife skills, ultimately, all that it matters for is to make things cook as evenly as possible. But let's also not really overcomplicate a vegetable soup more than it has to be. It's a vegetable soup at the end of the day. So, going ahead, cutting that up. And now we can go ahead and once again section this off. I want a nice small dice. This is basically a small to medium dice at this point. Remember how I said it doesn't matter? Well, it does not matter. It is entirely up to you. It is a vegetable soup. This is a weeknight meal. This is meant to be reheatable. All the veggies are gonna get nice and soft as they cook down. So it doesn't matter all that much. My celery, let's go ahead and get it all processed, my friends. It's gonna make it nice and herbaceous. It's gonna give it a lot of flavor. The onions are gonna make it nice and sweet, and the carrots are gonna add also sweetness as well as some earthiness. And so let's just keep on slicing and slicing and slicing and slicing and slicing until we get all of our beautifully cut up celery. Crunch it, crunch it, crunch it, beautiful. But the only thing is I hate massive chunks. I really hate massive chunks of celery especially. I find it to be quite unpleasant for me at least to eat. Okay, there you go. And everybody, last but not least, we have one last stack. We have one last stack. You want to eat that celery, monkey? Well, then you're more than welcome to do so. So, 17 Joel, I know that you've been previously doing canned lentils, but now I hope that I've inspired you to go with the dried lentil route. Because guys, lentils and beans, they're cheap staples. I am here to teach you all how to cook it yourself. I am here to teach you how to make that accessible for you in a home setting. And I am here to inspire you to go ahead and do that. Breadworms and quiche, welcome on in. It is excellent to have you. So, what do we have going on here? This is my celery, this is my carrot. My friends, it is time to do Mr. Onion. Okay, and so, you know, I have half an onion left over. I don't think I need that much onion in my soup today. I think I'm just gonna do half an onion instead of a whole onion. And then I'd rather save the whole onion for another dish at some point. Guys, I go through about a sack of onions a week when I cook. And so you can never really have too much onion, but this is more so like I wanna save this and keep this around for something else. You want more plant-based protein in your diet? Well, guess what? First of all, Ogrim Fan Clan, welcome on in. I do too. I eat a lot of meat. I eat a lot of dairy. I would not like to eat so many animal products all the time like I currently do. And so that's what I'm attempting to show you all how to move away from, in a way. Okay, so everybody, onion, half an onion. We're gonna be doing the incision and the fan method. Root attached. Half of the onion, skin already peeled. Now watch with me. We're gonna make incisions. Don't cut through all the way, but you're gonna fan the onion out. Ready? You're gonna fan it out, fan it out, fan it out, fan it out, fan it out. It's attached by the root. It's basically like a little fan. It is held together by the base of it, and that is going to help it to stay together as it cuts. How many times have you seen your mother or your grandmother agonize as they cut onions? They have a whole onion, they peel it, they make an incision, and they make a mess cutting it up. This is the contemporary method. This is what we're doing now. Take the onion. If you'd also like, you can make a couple of horizontal incisions all the way in, just like so. Maybe one more right up here. And then everybody, we're gonna take this onion. You can see that it's holding together beautifully. Nice sharp knife, and slice it, and slice it, and slice it. And then we will obtain our lovely pile of cut up onion. You would pay 20 to 40 bucks for this lesson? Oh yeah. And all of my teachings, they will always be free. And that is why I encourage people, please, if you have any cooking questions whatsoever, please feel free to ask me. Remember, I am at your service. My goal here is not to do this for me. My goal here is I would like to teach you all how to become really excellent home cooks. You can do it. Food doesn't have to be intimidating. Okay? So, carrots, onions, and celery, all of them in my bowl. And so let's once again talk about this. This is called a mirepoix. This is just a French word. I don't know exactly what it translates to, but in almost every single cuisine, you have the idea of a trinity. You have the idea of a base set of ingredients that make things taste like they're from that cuisine. In Cajun Creole cooking, you have the Holy Trinity. So it's celery, bell pepper, onion, and then garlic on top of that. In French cooking, it's the mirepoix, carrots, onions, and celery, no bell pepper. In Latin American cooking, you have a sofrito, which has green chilies, it has cilantro, it has culantro, sometimes it has tomatoes, it usually features some sort of an onion, as well as some garlic. These are aromatic bases that are used in different cuisines to make them taste like that cuisine. So feel free to add in your own vegetables, whichever ones that you would like. Remember, this is not a recipe. This is all technique. This is all theory. I'm simply here to show you the options, and then I want you to take this and make it your own out of the ingredients that you have available to you. If you go to the supermarket and you see some amazing green peppers, go ahead and pick them up. Use the produce that is best available to you. Look at my beautiful mirepoix though. Look at the knife cuts. Look how consistent. Look how even it is. You can do that too. I taught you how to be patient. I taught you how to process that all up beautifully, and now we have our mirepoix all ready to go for today. So what else are we going to need to process? We're going to need to process the tomatoes at some point. We have to do the lentils as well as the garlic. And so I think I'm going to begin with the garlic. Everybody, I have some garlic, and as you all know, you can never have too much garlic. So I'm going to go ahead and peel this over my waste bowl so any scraps go there instead of on my cutting board. Okay, and I'm going to be doing about 5 cloves of garlic today. I'm using however much I had off of this head. Why? Because I love garlic, and you can never have too much garlic. I don't want a bland vegetable soup. I want a flavorful one. I want a flavorful vegetable soup done with a lot of love. I want a flavorful vegetable soup done with a lot of integrity, my friends. So, garlic clove. Take it and smash it to be able to peel the skin. Use the bench scraper, not the knife. Bench scraper on, smash to flatten. Garlic, flatten, activate. Excellent. Garlic, flatten, activate. Excellent. And garlic, flatten. Beautiful. Really? Is that the actual lawyer? There was a guy that was called Mirepoix? I feel like you might be trolling, Monkey. I don't think that's real. For the moisture, I use cumin, turmeric, and coriander, absolutely. But that's more so like a base of dried spices. And also, everybody, when people say aromatic in cooking, they really just mean anything that gives some amount of flavor or aroma. So like a potato, would it be considered an aromatic? And then even calling like a carrot an aromatic is really subjective. But just don't take that word too literally. Just think of it as which vegetables taste like something. So things like zucchini, things like squash, I wouldn't consider those aromatics. Herbs, I would consider as aromatics. Anything in the allium family, right? So garlic, onions, leeks, shallots, so on and so forth. Everybody, I'm going to be cutting the butts off of my garlic, as well as any dried off moldy bits, as garlic sometimes has. Also, Tazo, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. So you see, sometimes garlic just has dried off bits. That's okay. Slice it off. Slice it off. Get them out of here. Clean up the garlic. Get it nice and pretty. It's okay if you don't believe me, chef, but you basically just said, oh yeah, John Mirepoix. It was named after John Mirepoix. So, as always, if you follow this cooking show at all, you would know that I absolutely despise cutting garlic. Cutting garlic is sticky, and it is unpleasant and uncomfortable. Also, wait, everybody, really quickly, how do we feel about the camera? I've made this 60 FPS, I hope, so the overhead should look a little bit better. So what do we use? Instead of chopping the garlic by hand, I use my handy dandy little garlic press. Everybody should own a good garlic press, and I would like to hear a nice yes, chef, please, and thank you. Grab the garlic press, and we're going to press each and every single one of my lovely cloves. We're going to go ahead and press them into oblivion. Press them until all of that lovely garlic just comes on out. And I do miss my old garlic press, I have to say. This is my roommate's. My old one was a little bit better. I'm sorry, Vixen. Do I do the garlic trick? What's the garlic trick? Are you talking about like the salt cutting board method? And if so, if that's what you're talking about, then absolutely not. I'm not crazy about that method. Okay. Okay. And then we're just going to grab a little knife and slice off all of this beautiful garlic. I love garlic, and so should you. And yeah, so some of this, on this garlic press, I don't have as much leverage on this as I would like. It doesn't press down on it fully. I miss my old one. Maybe I'll steal it from my mom if she's willing to part with it. I do miss it sincerely. Okay, and so everybody, now is the best time once again to clean up your garlic press. Also, Bloodworms, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you, thank you. That's very, very sweet of you. Welcome on in, everybody. This is the best cooking show on Twitch. It is lovely to have all of you. So, all of my garlic has been nice and pressed. As always, we clean the garlic press as we go, and we're going to do a little recap for all of the people that have now just joined us. So, clean the garlic press. Poke it when it is wet, my friends. Do not let the garlic press dry. It is the same principle as a cheese grater. If you go ahead and you let it dry, it is going to become impossible to clean afterwards. So clean it now, strike while the iron is hot, clean yesterday. The best time to clean it was yesterday. So go ahead and get it done, get it all nice and cleaned up, get all the garlic out of the little holes of the garlic press, and then I'll throw that into my dishwasher. So everybody, welcome on in. It is lovely to have all of you. Welcome innovators. Let's talk about what we're making today. Let's talk about what this cooking show is. First of all, welcome to the best cooking show on Twitch. It is lovely to have all of you. First and foremost, we are making today a really, really lovely lentil soup. We're making a red lentil soup because I had leftover parsley and thyme. I had leftover kefir and buttermilk. And so in my oven at the moment is a homemade soda bread. Man on the net, you just asked me, doesn't pressing garlic make it bitter? The answer is no, not at all. But keep in mind, it does make it more pungent. It doesn't make it more bitter. The finer that you slice garlic, the finer that you chop it, the more pungent it becomes. Because in its raw form, as a defense mechanism, garlic produces allicin when it is crushed. Okay, so it's not that it becomes more bitter, it just becomes more pungent. If you were to cook a whole clove of garlic side by side with chopped garlic, the chopped garlic will taste more garlicky and the whole garlic will just taste more sweet. I want that garlicky pungency. It's all gonna cook into my lentil soup, and so my garlic got nice and processed. So everybody, in my oven is my soda bread at the moment because I wanted to teach you all a delicious homemade chewy bread that doesn't take up that much effort, it doesn't take up that much time. We made a mirepoix, which is a combination of carrots, celery, and onions. If anybody has any cooking questions for me at any point in time, please feel free to ask me. Second of all, if you would like to support what we do here, check out my Patreon, !Patreon in the chat, or scroll down and go into the About section. Any and all help there would be appreciated because it is my goal to be able to do this full time one day. Okay, so carrots, onions, and celery, that is my aromatic base for the lentil soup today. This is going to be my garlic, and then let's go ahead and continue with a little bit more vegetable prep, and then we'll begin sautéing some of the mirepoix while all of that is actually going on. So everybody, let's head on over to the stove. Let's head on over to the stove. Here is my big, beautiful Dutch oven. So everybody, especially all of you that are now coming in here for the first time, I need to hear a yes, chef, from everybody watching, please, and thank you. Because this is one of the most misused and one of the most abused pieces of kitchen equipment that have ever existed. People do a lot of things to it that are wrong, and I'm going to teach you how to make this tool work for you, how to make it last such a long time, and for it to really make your food amazing. So, let's talk about what this is, and let's talk about what I'm doing, and I'll explain to you why. First, here's the gist of it. If you have an enamel Dutch oven, if it's a Dutch oven at all, if it's any kind of pan, we only heat it up on medium-low heat. Medium to medium-low, never on a high heat. And for my lentil soup, I'm gonna be using an olive oil today. I want a nice, delicious, tasty oil. And so I'm using a generous, generous amount of olive oil. So everybody, what just happened? What is the importance of doing so? Let me tell you the biggest mistake that people make with their Dutch ovens. They take it and they blast it on a high heat. They do the same thing with a cast iron pan. They do the same thing with stainless steel. Everybody, look at this metal. That is a thick piece of metal. If you heat it up on high, you will develop hot spots and cool spots because of how long it actually takes for the heat to travel and evenly distribute. If we were to take this and blast this onto a high heat, once again, you will develop hot spots and cool spots. Second of all, it's enameled. Same as a nonstick pan, high heat damages the enamel over time. So everybody, what is the risk of hot spots and cool spots? You know what happens? Food sticks. When you have hot spots and cool spots, the hot spots will burn the food, and the cool spots will cause the food to stick to it. I have used this Dutch oven again and again, and I have showed you all the key to it. The key is medium-low heat. The key is to heat it up slowly. You could heat it up slowly on a high heat as well, but that would be a little bit too hot for the enamel coating. Everybody, medium to medium-low over the course of 5 to 6 minutes. It goes such a long way that I cannot overstate it. It is so, so, so important. It is so important that I am clarifying this to you again and again every single time that I use it. Medium-low heat. Next, why am I using extra virgin olive oil? Well, consider this. All of this stuff is going into the final soup today. I don't want to use canola oil. I don't want to use vegetable oil. I don't want to use peanut oil. I don't want to use oils that don't taste delicious. This is not just a tool, this is an ingredient. Your fat is an ingredient. If you have bacon fat, this would be an amazing time to use it. If you have pork fat, if you have beef fat, use that. You could also do some butter, clarified butter and ghee. But you don't want to use something like a neutral oil for your vegetable soup because the goal is to maximize flavor. I have this beautiful olive oil, and especially because it's an olive oil, never high heat. Next rule that I need all of you to keep in mind, that a lot of professional chefs violate, even chefs that I have once at some point in my life respected. They take metal tools to the Dutch oven. They think that because it's made out of cast iron that you can use metal tools on it, and you could not be more incorrect. Everybody, treat this like a nonstick pan. Treat this like it's a nonstick pan. If you use metal tools on this, you will scratch and damage your coating. It will flake off. It's not going to become as nonstick. Okay? So, medium-low heat for even heat conduction. Only wooden tools and silicone tools. Never, ever, ever do I want to see you use metal tools. I see Chef Isaac Toops take a metal whisk and go in. I see so much mediocre YouTube content where they're taking metal tongs and scratching up the bottom of the pan. Everybody, medium-low heat. Heat it up slowly. That is going to be the key, and you are going to see just how phenomenal this lentil soup is going to be. Next, we're going to be properly sautéing the vegetables. How many times have you seen recipes that say, oh, sauteed for 3 minutes? Nonsense. Everybody, the process to actually get meaningful color developed on your vegetables takes a significant amount of time. Think about it. I want you all to think about this for a second. Okay? Look at this. Vegetables, carrots, onions, and celery. What are they mostly made up of? The answer is water. As soon as this goes onto the heat, regardless of how high the heat is, as soon as the onions, carrots, and celery collapse, what ends up happening is they release a bunch of liquid. These recipes that say, oh, sauteed for 3 to 4 minutes, absolute nonsense. And they have no idea what they're talking about. I'm here to teach you technique and theory. The goal is this. You heat up the vegetables enough that they collapse. Once they collapse, they release their liquid. You'll hear the sizzle stop and it'll start boiling in its own liquid. We evaporate the liquid, the fat remains, and only then can the vegetables actually begin sauteing. I am so serious about this. It is so critical that you follow this methodology exactly. Do not just put it in there on a high heat for just a few minutes. You are not going to get meaningful caramelization. Now, if you just want a boiled vegetable soup, that's okay. Guys, this is a lentil soup. You don't have to overcomplicate this if you don't want to. But if you want sweet, complex, sauteed vegetables with a lot more depth of flavor than a boiled vegetable, then you're going to do as I say. I like it when you listen to the things I say. I want to hear a nice yes, chef, from everybody watching, please, and thank you. This is super important, and I can't emphasize it to you enough. Carrots, onions, and celery. Garlic. The garlic is separate. Why? Because it doesn't go in immediately. If you add it in immediately, it'll end up burning. The pan is heating up nice and low and slow. I'm going to give it a bit of a rotation just to make sure that it heats up as evenly as possible. Okay, and in the meantime, what we're going to go ahead and do, also that's not enough yes chefs for the record. I want to see a little bit more. We're going to go ahead and do some of the other vegetable prep in the meantime because this is going to take a little bit more time to go ahead and heat back on up. So let's head back to Mr. Cutting Board and we'll process up my lovely, beautiful, gorgeous little tomatoes. So guys, I have some nice little plum tomatoes. Why do I use plum tomatoes for the soup? First of all, they're fleshy. Typically, beefsteak tomatoes, vine tomatoes, okay, they tend to have a lot more water content. Plum tomatoes are also really cheap. Feel free to use any leftover tomatoes. Feel free to use anything inside of a vegetable soup like this. I'm using my plum tomatoes because that is what I had access to, and I want a nice cheap tomato for a vegetable soup. You want to save those really expensive heirloom tomatoes that you bought for something like a salad, for something like a caprese. You don't really want to use that for a vegetable soup. Unless you just happen to have a big old box of it, in which case, go ahead. But these plum tomatoes, they're going to be cooked down. They're going to be nice and delicious. And so everybody, first we have to take the core out of the tomato. This is the core. It's a little bit too woody for the tomato soup, or for the lentil soup. So, the method that a lot of people do, they take a paring knife and they dig in. And let me tell you right now, I hate that method. I hate that method because it is sloppy and it destroys the inner flesh of the tomato. Much easier. Guys, slice it in half directly through the root. Take it and slice it in half. Take it and slice it in half. And then once it's sliced in half, incision 1, 2, be nice and careful, nice sharp knife, and look at that, it just pops out. Let's go ahead and do that with all of my lovely tomatoes. all my plum tomatoes. I'm using 3 plum tomatoes. Guys, this isn't an exact ratio. It's a vegetable soup at the end of the day. Do not overcomplicate it. Do not overthink this. Okay? I love tomatoes too, Askia. And then we'll just be dicing it up for the soup today. We could also probably, you know what? Because the tomato skin is papery, I think I'm just going to be blending the tomato straight instead of actually dicing it. But that is neither here nor there. Everybody, let's get this into our waste bowl. And so, my olive oil should now be nice and heated. You don't want this oil to be smoking hot. You don't want to burn the olive oil. And you also don't want to burn the vegetables. Everybody, remember, the process of actually cooking the vegetables is a 3-step process. You collapse, you evaporate, and then it actually begins sautéing. So, plenty of delicious extra virgin olive oil. The pan has been heated up. In it goes. Medium, low heat. Listen, gentle sizzle. And that's totally okay. Gentle sizzle. Let's get all of the vegetables inside, all of the carrots, onions, and celery, and this is going to be the base of today's soup. This is going to be the base flavor. This is going to be the base consistency of it all. This is what's really going to fortify the liquid so that our liquid doesn't taste completely bland. Okay, everybody? Next, we're going to go ahead and salt them. Salting does a couple of things here. First of all, it actually seasons it. I know, big whoop. It seasons it and it makes sure that the layers are seasoned. Remember, this is not a completely pureed soup. This soup has chunks. If you only add the salt at the end, the salt will not properly penetrate all of your little chunks of vegetables in time. So, this is called seasoning in layers, my friends. You need to season it in layers to make sure that every single little bite of food has the same amount of salt. And so it's not that the vegetables are bland and the liquid is overly salted. So a bunch of salt goes in. The second thing it does is it helps to pull out water during the collapsation phase. Right? Salt is hydrophilic. Salt will help to facilitate some of the pulling out of the moisture. So let's get in there and let's just mix it up, my friends. And so listen. The sizzling is dying down. Why did the sizzle die down? It's not because your heat wasn't high enough. It's because the vegetables are releasing water. Do not listen to the people that say, oh, just sweat it for a few minutes. Just saute it for a few minutes. It accomplishes absolutely nothing, my friends. The goal right now is to first collapse the vegetables. They will never get brown and delicious unless you collapse them. So, how do we expedite the collapsing process? You steam them. This might seem counterintuitive if the goal is to evaporate all of the excess liquid, but by putting the lid on for just a few minutes, the steam wraps around the vegetables, and the steam helps to cook it, and then the steam will help to collapse it. So just give it a few minutes with the lid on, and then we take the lid off, and then you will see that the veggies are in a pool of their own liquid. This is why we don't do a high heat. You don't want a superficial saute. You don't need to sear it in the beginning, guys. It is a process. It's a process. Okay, so give it some time, give it some love, give it some energy. You can even turn up the heat to a medium. And right now, we're gonna make the tomato passata. We're gonna blend up the tomatoes, and that is going to then go into the soup, of course. I firmly do not believe in peeling my tomatoes. I think peeling your tomatoes can be a bit of a waste of time, especially if you have a really nice, strong, powerful blender, quite like this one. Okay, this is my Vitamix that our lovely viewer, Catholic Queen, may or may not have gotten for us. Everybody shout out to Catholic Queen for being amazing, for being phenomenal. Okay, and so all that we're going to go ahead and do, let's go ahead and get all of our tomatoes inside of the blender. Let's get them all in, and then we're gonna blend this until it is completely homogeneous. Now, do you have to do this? No, but the reason why I'm doing this is because I don't like the papery tomato skin. If you cut it up into cubes, you get these little tiny scraps of tomato skin. This bad boy right here, my lovely little Vitamix, he does a really nice job of cleaning that up for us. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and blend this down, and we're gonna get it really, really nice and beautiful. I feel like I'm saying beautiful a lot more than usual, but that's okay. Pop on my little lid here. Pop this bad boy on, and everybody, whenever you're blending, you want to start off on a low speed and then always turn it up if it is the kind of a blender with a dial on it. Otherwise, just blend it, make a smoothie, break down all of the skins. You can't over blend the tomatoes, but you can definitely under blend them. So, lowest possible speed, starting it off. All that I'm going to go ahead and do, my friends, is just blend this bad boy up. Grab my little thingy and push it all down. Blend it down. Blend it up, blend it up, blend it up. Until it's nice and smooth, nice and homogeneous. Basically make a little tomato smoothie. Okay, in the meantime, let's check on my vegetables. Take a look, take a look. Everybody, they're boiling in their own liquid, okay? So I'm gonna quickly turn off my blender, listen to the sound. It's not sizzling. What is it doing? It's going psh. So how do we know in which cooking stage we are in with the vegetables? It is all in the music, my friends. It is in the music, it is in the sound. If it's a high-pitched pss, that's how you know it's cooking in fat and it can burn and it's sautéing. If you hear a psh, that is how you know it is cooking in liquid. But everybody, that having been said, guess what? My soda bread is actually just about ready to come out of the oven so that we can go ahead and take a lid off of it. I'm really, really excited to see how it goes. I'm gonna be switching the burner over to the other stove for a second. Just to be able to keep up the cooking process, I'm gonna turn this guy off. And I'm going to go ahead and get the Dutch oven out that contains the bread. Everybody, the soda bread, we gotta take off the lid. It's gotta cook for another 12 to 15 minutes until the top of it is nice and browned. And then we can go ahead and let it rest. And we will have a delicious, freshly baked piece of homemade bread. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep on blending. Keep on blending, keep it up, until all of those tomato skins are nicely pureed. Keep it blending, keep it blending, keep it blending. Let it go. Let it do its own thing. Okay? Shut that off. Everybody, it is now going to be time for us to initially at least take out the first cook of my lovely loaf of bread. So I hope to see what? I hope to see it expand. I hope to see it leaven. It's not going to have the full color on it that it needs, because we still haven't taken the lid off and it has a little bit too much humidity inside. So let's see how it ended up baking, at least in the first half. I'm gonna go ahead and try my best to pull this out through my tripod. It is honestly a little bit tricky. It is not the easiest thing in the world to do. Out it goes. It's super, super hot, everybody, so be really, really careful with this. And off this lid comes. Look at that puff. Look at that leaven on that bread. You guys are not going to be able to see it the best from this angle, but let me show you from here. You can see that it's baked up really, really beautifully on top. And now all that I'm going to go ahead and do is put it back into the oven until the top of it is nice and browned, approximately 12 more minutes or so. So open my lovely oven back on up, get my soda bread inside, and 12 to 15 minutes of cooking more. But guys, babysit it. Don't walk away for too long when you're baking this, because you can easily burn the parchment, you can easily burn the bread. Okay? So that's the beauty of a soda bread. We barely mix it up. It was super, super easy to do. Let's go ahead and get my vegetables transferred over here now. And you can hear, my friends, listen to the sound, listen to the music of cooking. We have entered the sautéing stage. Operator Emma, this is the second channel because the original channel, Daramgar, we did unfortunately have to move away from. Also, welcome to my new kitchen. Daramgar, because of the fact that it was made before I turned 13 years old and Twitch COPA violations, it would never allowed to be partnered. And so we had to unfortunately move to this channel. Guys, my vegetables have begun. They've only begun the sautéing stage. All we're doing now is we're continuing to evaporate the existing moisture and they're cooking up in all of that beautiful olive oil. I love lentils too. Also, Grug, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. Okay, we blended the tomatoes. The first bake on the soda bread is complete. And so now we're just going to get a lot of really nice color onto it. And then after it comes off, it's going to go onto a sheet tray. It's going to go onto a sheet tray. We're going to invert it onto a wire rack, let that cool off, and then we'll slice into it and we'll be able to enjoy. I'm going to have a little sip of seltzer while I have a moment of time. And then everybody, we got to sort some lentils. So my vegetables, gently sautéing at the stage. Get in there, my friends, give it a mix. Make sure no veggies are stuck to the sides of the pan. If they're stuck to the sides, they're going to end up burning and sticking. So make sure that everything is nice and flat and everything is on the bottom and not up on the sides of the pot or anything. So get it all cooking, get it all doing its thing. It's looking wonderful. It's looking beautiful at the moment. Okay, what else do we have to do? We gotta prep the parsley. We also have to go ahead and sort out some lentils. So give me 1 second, everybody. I also don't think that my soda bread leavened as much as it could have. I wonder why that might be the case. Yeah, that's a really, really good question. Anyways, I'm thinking maybe like a cup of lentils in total. Something like that, something along those lines, a cup and a half of lentils. And we do have to sort it a little bit, just in case there's any like little stones, just in case there's any pieces in there that really, really shouldn't be in there. Okay, so continuing to cook this up. Yeah, I don't think my soda bread puffed up as much as it could have. I think it might be a little bit too dense. The reason for that might be just that the baking soda was a little bit too old. I could have potentially also over-mixed it, question mark, but it's also a soda bread. So it's just still gonna come out good. It's still gonna go ahead and come out excellent at the end of the day. Okay, I'm gonna dry off my bowl and then we're going to go ahead and process my lentils. So, excellent. Ooh, it is hot in this kitchen at the moment. That oven is on and I am sweating and it is currently summer in New York City. So, brutal. Really, really difficult in fact. Let's go ahead and get my lentils out. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the bag gently. Hopefully it doesn't make a mess all over the place. I'll get some kitchen scissors. And we just have to make sure that there's no stones. Modern lentils, guys, I mean, they don't really typically come in a way that it needs to be cleaned all that much. But sometimes it does. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you get like little tiny bits of stone in the actual polishing process. So we're gonna do something over a cup of red lentils. So that's 1 cup. And then we're going to do maybe around this much more. I'm not going to be super specific with my measurements today. Something like that I think is going to be more than fine. Did I remember to add love to the bread? I sure did. 2 dads kissing. I sure did. Okay, so all that I'm really looking for now, my friends, you see every now and then you will find something that doesn't really look like a lentil. Get in there, get in there, get in there with your paws. You can see sometimes a couple of scraps of skin. You can just go ahead and sort and filter those out. Okay, so go in there. Let's take a look at those lentils. All of them are looking excellent. All of them are looking fantastic. Sometimes some of the sediment would fall to the bottom. Just get anything that doesn't look like it should be there. Okay, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. Look at this little guy. Right? I think that might be a little scrap of stone. It could be a scrap of dried off skin. But either way, that is not going to make for good eating. Go back to the vegetables. Everybody, listen to the sizzle. It's sizzling. Now it's sautéing. Now it's building up an amount of color. Now it's actually building flavor. That is how long it takes for you to be able to really, truly, properly brown and sauté your vegetables. And that is why most people mess it up, because they don't give it this level of time, and they don't give it this level of care, and they don't give it this level of attention. People mess it up, they rush the process of it, and it is not what it should be at the end of the day. The soda bread is getting a really nice, beautiful color on it. We're going to go ahead and take it out in just a few minutes, and then it'll be perfect. So, once again, everybody, we're going into the lentils. We're gently sorting it with our hands, and then we're picking out anything that looks like it has no place to be there. Right there, that is not a fully peeled lentil. Okay, just keep going, keep on processing it. Keep on processing, keep on processing. Look through it all. And get anything, once again, that really should just not be there. Just a couple of scraps of skin. I don't think there's anything really significant here. And you know what, guys? I think it's going to be okay. Again, you know, when it comes to actually like modern, like bagged lentils in the supermarkets, they're not really the ones that you have to sort. If you ever buy them by the pound though, those are the ones that you really, really have to make extra caution to be really, really certain that there is nothing in there that it really shouldn't be. The carrots, the celery, the onions, my friends, they're all building up a really, really nice amount of color at the stage. Also tea. Welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. I hope you're having a beautiful day today. It is lovely to have you. Howdy, howdy. I hope you had an excellent stream. We're making a beautiful lentil soup today. We're making a homemade soda bread as well, my friends. It's going to be delicious. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'm really, really excited about it. Okay, so I think my lentils are going to mostly sorted. This is about 1.5 cups of lentils so far. My tomatoes are all nice and blended up. My veggies are sautéing beautifully. They're getting done. They're getting in there. They're doing their best. Their absolute best. So, once the soda bread comes out, it's going to go on a little wire rack just so that we can let it properly steam through. If you put something like freshly baked bread onto a plate, a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture ends up condensing on the bottom, and then it ends up getting soggy. Okay? So, let's go ahead and take a look. Ugh. Wonderful. So, not that much more baking to go, my friends. It's almost there. It is almost done with. We'll pull it out. We'll be able to do the full reveal. I don't really want to begin anything else while that is still inside of the oven. That is only going to need about 4 more minutes or so, and then it's going to be perfect, and it's going to be all ready to go. The only thing that I do want to test for everybody is going to be the internal temperature of the bread. We're going to be looking for, you know, around 210 degrees internal. That really does matter. It tells you a lot about the doneness of the bread itself. And so, in order to do so, I have a lovely little thermopen. Where's my thermopen? There it is. And we're just going to be temping it like it's a piece of meat. Right? We're going to be temping it like it's a piece of meat, and then we'll just see how it goes. Guys, sometimes your oven is hotter than others, sometimes your oven is colder than others, and so you have to adjust. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to poke a hole into the bread, I'm going to see how it's baked so far, and see how much more baking it's going to need. So poke a hole in there. It's around 210, 212 degrees. I do believe that is going to be the peak temperature that we desire, my friends. That was into the thickest part of the bread, and I believe we can now successfully remove it. So, 210 degrees has been reached. The top of it is nice and brown. Let's stir up my vegetables. I'm going to turn off my oven, turn off my timer, stir up my veggies, and now, my friends, let's take out this beautiful loaf of bread. I'm going to show this to you as it is. So just give this bad boy one little second. In fact, I'm going to transfer the veggies back on over here so that they're not in the way. And then turn this guy off. And so, let's see how the bread comes out, my friends. And so this is a soda bread. It's, again, not going to have the texture of a traditional loaf of bread. It's going to be a little bit denser. It's going to be delicious, though, nonetheless. That is our lovely soda bread. It's come out. It's all ready to go for us. And now, my friends, wire rack. We have to invert this bad boy onto a wire rack. Why? Because if we put it onto a plate as it is, it's going to end up steaming on the bottom, and then it's going to become really, really soggy on the bottom. It is a hot piece of bread that has come out of the oven. So having a wire rack, having something like that is going to be essential for something like this, my friends. So it's come out of the oven. We're going to go ahead and grab it. Just pick it up, hopefully by the parchment just fine, without dropping it. And I'm just going to, well, I don't really have to invert it as much as I just have to put it on just as is. Okay? So really simple. That's a nice, really, really basic soda bread. It didn't necessarily puff up and leaven as much as I would normally like it to. It's a little bit dense. It's nice and crusty. Let's see how the bottom of it actually looks. I'm going to just gently pick that bad boy up. Nice and crusty on the bottom as well. That is a soda bread. I think I could have done a better job with my incisions. I don't think I went as deep with my incisions as I could have. But this now just has to go ahead and cool off. So I'm going to actually leave that on my cutting board for a second. Let's go back to the stove. Let's swap things back around, my friends. So grab this bad boy, throw back on the lid, and move him aside. That is a hot Dutch oven, so please, for the love of God, be careful. Get this guy back on here and get him sauteing once more. Everybody, stir these veggies. Make sure that nothing is scorching on the bottom. Make sure that nothing is remotely sticking on the bottom. We are here to develop real flavor. We are here to develop flavor. We're here to develop some character, okay? And so you want nice, deep, golden brown flavor. The further that you go, the more complex, the more sweet that is going to appear, the more nutty, and the more depth my vegetable soup is going to have. You can stop at any point depending on your preferred liking. But in my case, everybody, I'm going to be basically roasting these vegetables in the pan. I'm going to be cooking them so that we develop some really, really serious color and some really serious flavor. Because I mean business. I mean business. I'm really, really serious about this stuff. So, bread has been done baking. I don't know how the soda bread came out. We'll be able to tell once we do actually cut into it. You don't want to cut into this immediately, everybody. You really want to let it set over the course of 20 to 30 minutes, or ideally an hour. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and take this bad boy and put him literally anywhere else, out of sight and out of mind. Get him out of here, let him cool off, let him do his thing, and then hopefully the soda bread came out okay. My goal was to use up my leftover kefir with it, and I did exactly that. Stir it up. Yeah, I think it's a little too dense. And I don't really know why that happened, other than maybe the baking soda is a little bit old. That's the only thing that can really come to mind for me, at least. Right now, this looks wonderful. My vegetables, that is. Okay. Maud, can we get that bot band, please? And thank you. Okay. I'm gonna have a little sip of water, and then we'll talk about everything else that we need to get done for today. Surely I have one moderator, Trash Can Udosky, or Taza. If somebody would be able to please and thank you, that'd be very, very nice of you. Okay, so what do we have left to do? And what is the order of operations? We have to fry the garlic in with the vegetables. Then afterwards, we're going to be adding in the tomato. We also have to process the potato. That was the part that I forgot about. That was the part that I neglected to mention. So let's go ahead and do the potato in that case. The potato, we're going to do it really, really simple. We'll just peel it up. We'll be cutting into small cubes. And the reason why I'm adding the potato into the vegetable soup is because it really, really helps to hold it all together. The potato is such an essential component of my lentil soup because it stops it from separating once we do blend some of it. Okay, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really nice and starchy. So let's go ahead and do that now. Back to this. Stir up my veggies again. They're building up some really, really nice color. They're beginning to develop a little bit of fond on the bottom of the pot. Yeah, all of my mods are cooking right now. Dosky, Trash Can, Cat Bomb. I gotta say, I love that my mods are so good at cooking, but I wish they would cook less so that they would, all be here. I'm kidding. You guys can do whatever you want. Okay, potato. All I have is just this one small little potato, my friends. Really, really simple, really, really easy. We're going to process him in the same exact way as we did the carrot, which is just to peel it and then to cut it up into little pieces. Why am I peeling my potato? Simply put, this is not the world's freshest potato. The skin on this guy is kind of rough. It kind of sucks. Even though a potato skin has so much nutrients, even though a potato skin is so delicious, in this case, I'm going to be getting rid of it. So, potato, peeler, really simple. Dominant hand, you hold the peeler. Off hand, you hold your potato. And then we just go all the way around. And we peel up this bad boy. Ready? And peel. 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 Lovely. And let's get all that skin off. You can keep it on if you would like, but this does help it to blend up a little bit easier. We do lose a little bit of nutritional value, but that's okay. That is a sacrifice I am willing to make. So peel it up, and then to remove the eyes, we can use this chunk of the potato peeler. Peel up the top. and peel up the bottom. So once again, the potato is not the most essential component of the soup. We only have one small potato because its only job is to make sure that things get blended up easily. And it does that job exceptionally, exceptionally well. Pros get the horizontal peeling, not at all true, and in fact, quite literally the opposite in this case. Everybody going back into the veggies, because remember, we're sauteing, and if we're sauteing, the veggies can burn. They're full of sugar, they're full of starches, they can toast, and they can scorch if we don't go back in there and stir it up often. Okay, so let that go. Let that do its own thing. And let's go ahead and come back to Mr. Potato. So everybody, potato. I want small cubes. My goal is to not bite into a chunk of potato. Slice it into planks. Okay, nice thin planks. Slice it and slice it. Excellent. And slice it and slice it. Beautiful. Just like that. Next, we're going to stack up the potatoes and we're going to cut them into batons, my friends. Just like we did the carrots. Batons. And the potatoes will collapse and they will cook into the soup, and that is exactly what they need to do. The potatoes are not here for texture. The potatoes are not here for us to bite into them. Remember what they are here for, okay? Remember why they invited you out. Remember why they invited you out to the club, okay? So take it, cut it up into batons, and then we're going to go ahead and proceed with a nice small dice. If anybody has any questions for me about this dish or something else, as always, please feel free to ask me at any point in time. Cube it up, cube it up, cube it up. Excellent. Beautiful. Next. Cube it up once more, my friends. Take it all, bunch it all up, and that's right, cube it up. Cube it up, cube it up, cube it up, cube it up. Until we get a bunch of lovely little cubes of potato. Everybody still paying attention? I don't feel like I've asked for a yes, chef in a while. I want to hear a nice resounding yes, chef, please. And thank you. Cube it up, cube it up, cube it up, cube it up. Beautiful. And last but not least, these little guys. Take it and cut it up into little cubes. Excellent. These are my potatoes that are now destined. So we're going to go ahead and grab them all, grab the bench scraper, put them all into a bowl, and we're going to be covering this with some nice cold water. We cover this with water. Why? Because the potatoes will oxidize unless you do so. They will turn brown as they're exposed to the oxygen, and the water helps to prevent that. So cold water goes in, just enough water to be able to cover the potatoes, and then it also gets rid of some excess starch, but that's not really the concern here. All I wanted to do was just to make sure that the potatoes did not oxidize. So back to the stove. Everybody, I can tell you right now, my vegetables have now sufficiently roasted. Now they're getting really, really delicious. Now you can smell how nutty it is. You can see the fond developing on the bottom of the pan. So what do we do now at this stage? What do we do now? What is left? Well, let me tell you. Next, we'll go in the garlic, and then I'm also going to do some cayenne pepper. I've decided against the Kashmiri chilies. I think I'm going to just keep it really, really simple for today. Everybody, I'm going to grab just my cayenne, just to have that food later, because we have it at home, and I want a little bit of extra heat in today's food. Okay, so grab that bad boy. In goes my lovely garlic. And why do we not do the garlic sooner? Because if we did the garlic sooner, it would have ended up burning, my friends. And that is not what we are in the business of doing here. Garlic. In she goes. And now let's fry that garlic up in all of this beautiful olive oil. Take it and just get it in there. Get it in there. You can see that the vegetables are nicely and beautifully and properly roasted at this stage. They have flavor. They have depth. They have something to say. They have something to contribute. And that is exactly what we're looking for. They're not just sweated. They're not just boiled. But this vegetable soup is going to be full of flavor because of all of the work that we put into the actual sautéing portion. It is so important. So the garlic cloves go in. The garlic goes in. Next, I'm going to grab a little teaspoon for my cayenne pepper. And then I'm going to spoon in quite a bunch of it. I'm going to spoon in a significant amount. Right? I want a good amount of heat in today's dish. I don't want this to be, well, that's actually plenty, I think, in that case. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be a non-issue. That'll be okay. Grab it and move it around and fry that cayenne in the olive oil. Develop that flavor. Slightly toast it. And then everybody will be deglazing it. What is deglazing? On the bottom of the pan, we have a bunch of stuck starches and sugars that have dissolved out of the vegetables. Deglazing is the process of simply adding in another liquid, in this case white wine, to be able to dissolve everything back into it so that it doesn't stick and burn in the final product. I'm frying up the cayenne, I'm frying up the garlic, and now in goes my lovely white wine. White wine to give it some extra flavor, some extra acidity, some extra sweetness, and I'm gonna do a good amount of white wine at that. Bunch of white wine goes in. And now, so important everybody, scrape up the pan. Take the wooden spoon and scrape up anything and everything that could be stuck to the bottom of the pot. Scrape it up, scrape it up, scrape it up, scrape it up. Unstick anything that is stuck to the bottom, because that is the whole point of deglazing. This cleans up your pan. This gets all of the sugars back in there. This develops the flavor. Scrape it up, and properly deglaze it, my friends. Get everything back into the white wine, and now this is beautiful, and now this is flavorful. Truly, the epitome of Flavor Town, if I had to be a little cringe with it. And I am a little cringe, so I think that's okay. I'm allowed to be a little cringe. Okay, and so we can reduce the wine at this stage. We could also just kind of let it cook out. It doesn't really totally matter. So white wine goes in first to initially deglaze it. Then goes my tomatoes, my friends. Remember my blended tomatoes? Well, you shouldn't have forgotten about them. My 3 plum tomatoes, they have given themselves up. They have given their lives for the greater cause. And so we are going to be using them appropriately inside of today's soup. We're going to go ahead and pour all of it in. All of it goes. And then we're going to clean up the blender with a little bit of water just to be able to get all of the tomato pulp that we might have left behind. So get some water in there, get it cleaned up. Get all of those little chunks of tomato back into the pot, my friends. Okay, and let's go ahead and let's pour it all in. We're gonna need this liquid for the lentils, and we're gonna need this liquid for the potatoes. Season it now. Season it with some salt. Season it. With a good amount of salt, we can now increase the temperature. Get that salt in, my friends. And now let's go in with my lovely, beautiful lentils. All of them are going in. As well as my potatoes. The potatoes, we want to strain out all of that excess liquid. I don't think we're going to need that much moisture in the final product. And so I'm just going to go ahead and just quickly strain that out for us today. And if we need more liquid, then we will, by God, add some more liquid. And that will be a non-issue for us. Add in the potatoes. Add them in. Add them all in. And now let's mix it all around, my friends. And this is the start of a beautiful lentil soup. We need to cook out the raw flavor of the tomatoes. We need to soften the vegetables at this stage. We need to cook it all down. We gotta soften the potatoes, soften the lentils. This really needs 20 to 30 minutes after we bring it up to a boil and drop it to a simmer. So, what can we do in the meantime? We gotta process some thyme, and we gotta process a bunch of parsley. So, let's go ahead and get that done, everybody. Is everybody still watching? I want to hear another yes, chef, please, and thank you. For those of you that haven't already done so, please check out my Patreon. If you'd like to support what we do here, my goal is to be able to do this full time one day. And so any and all support on the Patreon goes a really, really long way. Or Twitch subs. Those are good too. Those are all right. All right, get that all in there. Get that happening. And now let's just go ahead and just scrape up anything that could be stuck at any point inside of my lovely pot of lentil soup. It's gonna be flavorful, it's gonna be rich, it's gonna be delicious. We're gonna top it off with lemon juice and some fresh parsley as well. And we're also gonna be cooking in some parsley, adding that in towards the end. But right now, my friends, let's go ahead and get some thyme. So, thyme. Why am I using thyme? Well, this was one of my entire inspirations for today. I had a bunch of this leftover thyme, and so I wanted to make good use out of it. Now, I really wish that I had kitchen twine. I really, really wish that I did, because that would have made this process a lot easier. I could have just put it right in. If I had butcher twine, if I had like cooking twine, then I could have popped it right in and then taken it out. Unfortunately, I am not so lucky today. So instead, I'm going to be taking all of these stems of thyme, and we are going to be peeling every single last one. This is gonna suck. This is gonna be time consuming, but now would be the best time to ask me any and all cooking questions that you may have. We gotta get rid of those woody stems. Those stems do not have a pleasant texture to them at all. They will not contribute anything pleasant into the soup today. And so I just wanna get all of the flavorful little leaves off of them instead. And so that is a process that takes time. It'll take time and love and care and energy, but guess what? I am prepared to give it and do it all. So, anybody that has questions, now would be the best time to go ahead and ask me. I am gonna be beginning, I feel like Sisyphus with, pushing up a boulder, up a mountain, because this feels like it takes forever, right? I think I might have not gotten the point of Sisyphus, but whatever. Who cares? That's all right, okay? So let's take all of that. Guys, enough time puns. Everybody's been doing time puns. You know what? This is maybe like the bane of all like cooking content creators when they know inevitably somebody's gonna be like, thyme. Chef, why do some meats have membranes that just go away and others don't? John, Turina Chess, I'm not actually entirely sure what you mean by membrane. Could you be a little bit more specific when you refer to it as like a membrane? So we're just running our fingers down it. We're getting all those lovely little petals off of the stems. We're plucking it. We're plucking the thyme. Everybody, the soup has now come up to a nice little boil, and we just have to really make sure that there's no lentils stuck on the bottom. I think I might not have stirred my lentils in properly. There's a few of them that are stuck in there, so make sure that you really, really, really thoroughly mix it in and don't do what I did, which is just put them in without stirring them in properly. So stir them in now. Now is the time to go ahead and do so. Now is the time. Stir it all in, scrape off anything that could be stuck to the bottom of the pot. Really, really feel around. Oh yeah, I might have done a bit of a misstep in not stirring in my lentils immediately, but that's okay. I am allowed to make mistakes. Everybody does them at some point, even me, even myself. Who would have thought? Who would have guessed that such a thing was possible? Okay, so stir it up, stir it up, stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. Get all of the lentils that are stuck to the bottom of the pot if this happens to you. I should have stirred them in a little bit more, but that's completely on me. That's just totally my fault. I was neglectful. I neglected them and now they're fighting back. They're rebelling against me. So all is normal. All is back to being well. And let's keep on plucking this thyme. Let's get all of those petals off. God, this might be my least favorite kitchen task. Mesmeralda, welcome on in with a thyme pun. Who'd have thought? Nobody has ever done such a thing in regards to thyme. Nobody ever. Not once in the history of humanity. Welcome on in. I hope you're having a good day today. And I want a bunch of thyme. Again, this was my inspiration for today. I wanted to use this up before it goes bad. And that is how you should be cooking at home too. So turkey tendons turn into coffee stir sticks. So Turina, I'm pretty sure that if you did cook it long enough in the presence of moisture, the tendons would also end up becoming soft. Or maybe they're just so thick that they never actually do. Chicken leg tendons, they definitely become soft at some point, don't they? What's worse, the amount of time that this brings or the time that this takes or the puns that this brings? Ooh, that's a good question. Honestly, it's got to be the amount of time in the day it takes up. And you see, you've infected me with it now. Now I can't get this out of my head. Best herb to season a burger with? Mesmeralda. Honestly, I don't really do that many herbs on a burger to begin with. I keep my burgers fairly minimalistic. I keep it fairly about like the meat and the cheese usually. But there is no bad topping. There's no bad herb for a burger rather. Because all of them would be delicious. It's a burger at the end of the day. It's a pretty blank canvas. So it's entirely based off of you and your own culinary preferences. Is my bit of a cop-out answer for you, I suppose. Get it in there and stir up the bottom, my friends. Stir up the bottom of the pot because I can definitely feel it slightly sticking up a little bit. And I'm going to pour in some more water because it's getting way too thick for us at the present moment. Stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. Get everything unstuck and get the sides back in, get that all incorporated in with the lentil soup. Okay, wonderful. Let's go ahead and keep on getting stuff off of my thyme stems. Ugh. But yeah, ultimately, honestly, any herb would be delicious in a burger. I just wouldn't put like a bunch of like fresh herbs on it. I feel like that would be uncomfortable to eat. I'd rather do like a seasoned mayonnaise in that case. You could do like a tarragon mayonnaise. You could do like a cilantro mayonnaise if you would like. I think that would be the best place to incorporate the herb. But then again, the herb itself actually doesn't really matter all that much. You could do like a rosemary thyme thing to give it like a really big like classic Italian or classic French vibe, if that's kind of your thing. So really, it's going to be mostly up to you. Okay, so get that all in there, get that all plucked off. God, I hate this step. I know I keep complaining about it over and over, but it is so annoying. Especially like the little fronds that come out that still have like a little bit of stem attached to them. Those are the absolute worst. So keep it going, keep it processing, keep it all processing. Break it up in your hands, do what you gotta do. Whatever it possibly takes. We don't want those stems because they're too woody. They're not all that pleasant for us to eat. But otherwise, thyme, of course, contributes a really, really beautiful flavor into everything it goes into. Amazing aroma, amazing taste, amazing flavor to it. Okay? Pluck them off, get it done, get the job done. And let's go back to the lentil soup. My heat is a little bit too high. Let's go back in there and stir up all of my lentils. Stir it up, stir it up, stir it up. It's getting cooked. It's getting nice and delicious. And I'm just making sure that, once again, nothing is stuck to the bottom of the pot. A lot of work, a lot of effort has been made so far, but we are not at all done quite yet. This is definitely going to need some additional liquid. The lentils are soaking up a good amount of it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go in with another nice big glug. And then of course a bunch of salt to be able to compensate for that in just a little bit. My heat was also a little too high, not enough liquid, and as a result, we have a mildly sticky situation. Mildly. But lentil soups are easy. They're comforting, they're delicious, they're cheap, and they're incredible for you. So, keep that all cooking. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the thyme. And that's about it. Hope you're all doing well. Hope everybody's enjoying the cooking show today. Hope everybody's following along. Well, not like doing this with me, although you could do that too. That would be funny. One day we'll have a cook-along stream. One day. It would need to be planned ahead of time, and I'd have to give everybody like an exact ingredient list to be able to succeed with a cook-along stream. I know a couple of people have asked for that at some point or another. It would be like a whole event. We would plan it out. It would need to be announced. I'm just curious who would actually even end up participating in it. Okay, the stems have been mostly plucked of all of their leaves. And I say mostly quite generously. I definitely threw away a couple of leaves. But my patience has run thin. So, all of my lovely little bit of thyme, and all that I'm going to need to do is my fine processing. So get in there, see if you have like any little like clumps of stem, and get that guy out of here. Break it all up, see if you have any clumps of stem, and just quickly get those leaves off of that guy. Get them out of there, get them into the plate. You just don't want any massive woody pieces. And then I'm also going to just go ahead and give this a few slices all the way through, just so that we don't have any massive chunks of thyme leaves, because I want it to evenly infuse inside of today's stew, inside of today's lentil soup. But first, go back to the lentil soup, give it yet another little stir, stir it up, stir it all the way around, and keep it simmering, my friends. Keep it simmering. The lentils are gonna fall apart. The potatoes will fall apart. Everything is going to get nice and beautifully cooked. We're cooking out the raw taste out of the tomato. All we're gonna do, thyme, just take it and just slice it, and just slice it, and slice it, and just slice it, to get rid of any of the really, really big leaves. Okay? Just take it, rotate it, and slice it up. Slice it, and 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 slice it. Just like so. Rotate it, and slice it some more. Wonderful. And one last pass through. Just to ensure that we have gotten as many of them out as possible. Beautiful. Okay, everybody, that is my thyme, nice and processed, ready for the soup. And so I'm gonna grab my handy dandy little bench scraper. I'm gonna scoop up all these bad boys, and we're gonna go ahead and get it into the pot. Get into the pot and mix it in and let it infuse. The thyme is going to contribute so much flavor into the final stew for today. So get it in there, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. Beautiful. Now it's going to become nice and aromatic. It's going to become nice and delicious with the addition of the thyme. That is the reason why I'm making this dish today to begin with. I wanted to use up my excess thyme. I had a bunch of it sitting in my fridge, and thus I was inspired by it to make today's lentil soup. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that right back on into the fridge. And I'm going to go ahead and put away a couple more things. We no longer need any white wine. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that too. Godly, welcome on in. Hello, Godly. Big fan. Hope you're having an amazing day today. We're making some lovely red lentil soup. It has tomatoes. It has potatoes inside of it. It has some thyme. We're going to do some parsley. Godly, it is lovely to see you. Hope you're doing well. So, this bad boy, it's just cooking along, and we just need to cook this until the potatoes are no longer raw on the inside. We need to cook this until the lentils are no longer raw on the inside. And once that's the case, we're going to take out some of it, and then we're going to be blending it down. Right now, I do want to taste it for seasoning. I want to taste it for salt. Godly, thank you so much for the sub. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, I just want to taste it for seasoning. I want to see how far along it has actually come. So, ooh, that is so simple, but that is so delicious. It is completely vegan too. And yet the broth, with the addition of the wine, and because of the fact that we thoroughly roasted the vegetables, it has so much flavor. It has so much to say. Delicious. However, the biggest thing that it is missing, of course, is going to be some salt. This is a big old pot of stew. This is a big old pot of lentil soup, my friends. And so it's going to need plenty of salt. So 2 big pinches of kosher salt going right inside. Let's get back in there and let's stir up the lentils once more. The soup is getting quite thick now. It's getting quite viscous. The potatoes are still not fully cooked. The lentils are still not fully cooked. But it's so easy. You can just kind of let this go and do its own thing. It's a vegetable soup. It's supposed to be mushy. You're not supposed to have a lot of really, really crunchy bits in there or anything. Another thing that I want to do, we bake the bread. I want to slice into the bread. I want to see how we did on it. Again, this is not a super like traditional loaf of bread. This is an Irish style soda bread, so it's not supposed to be like super, super puffy. It's supposed to be a little bit denser, relatively speaking. So if we were to go ahead and slice into it, and you know what, I gotta say, I think that came out quite nice on the inside. The bottom of it is nice and crusty. It's nice and crispy. It's supposed to look like this. It's supposed to be like a very nice dense crumb, and yet we still have some really lovely aeration. We still have some really, really lovely puffing. And that is exactly what I wanted out of a soda bread. Okay, again, it's not going to have the same crumb. It's not going to have the same texture as like a sourdough or something. It's not going to have the same leaven. It's not going to puff up as much. But the reason I taught you a soda bread was because I wanted something really, really, really simple that you can do in a home setting. And so now I want to go ahead and cut a slice off for myself and just have a little taste and see how it came out. Let's grab a slice of bread. Cut that bad boy off. I think that came out quite nice. Delicious. Simple, crispy on the bottom. That's wonderful. That's exactly what it should have been. Beautiful. Whoa. That is so chewy. That is lovely. And above all else, that was exceptionally easy to make. So, I'm going to put this back behind me. I'm going to keep that chilling out of my wire rack in the meantime. And that has the flavor of the buttermilk. That is delicious. That is lovely. Beautiful. Excellent. Homemade bread, no kneading, no proofing, nothing. All that we did was just combine the ingredients and baked it, and that is the beauty of a soda bread in a home setting, my friends. So I can tell you right now, once again, look at how thick that lentil soup is. The actual final viscosity is entirely up to you. It is entirely within your own field of control, and you need to ask yourself, how thick, how thin do I want my lentil soup to be? In my case, I don't want it to be that thick. I want it to be a little bit lighter, and so it's going to then need the addition of some additional liquid, just to be able to get us to the right consistency. And then we can always adjust it. We can always evaporate some water. We can always add in some water. The reason why I wanted to do the soup is because it's entirely vegan, and yet we can still develop so much flavor out of it. Okay, everybody, what do we have left to do? Let's go ahead and process the parsley. The parsley was one of my great inspirations for today. I had a lot of excess parsley, and so I wanted an excuse to be able to use up a lot of it at once before it ended up going bad. So let's go ahead and get a big bunch, and I do mean a nice big generous bunch of parsley, on my cutting board. Just like so. Excellent. Still gonna probably leave a little bit for something else for Sunday. But all of this parsley is going to find its way into the soup, essentially. And so, everybody, we gotta do the same thing to it. We just gotta pluck it. We gotta take the leaves off of the stem. We gotta slice them up to put directly into the soup after we blend it. And then some of it we will keep raw, only for garnishing reasons. So, let's pluck some parsley stems. Yeah, I gotta say, I am pretty impressed with that soda bread. That was simple, that was easy, that was delicious. Why am I taking it off the stem? Because I find the texture of the stems to not be all the most pleasant. This isn't the world's freshest parsley, but that's okay, because it's going to get used for a beautiful lentil soup. So take it and pluck it, my friends. Take it and pluck it. Take it and pluck it. Now let's get all of those leaves off of the stems. Even the old leaves we'll be using today, we'll be incorporating into the final dish. Let's come back to the stew, stir it up a little bit. Once again, make sure that there is no sticking, that there is no uneven cooking. Ooh. Everything is getting nice and soft, everything is getting nice and delicious. The flavor of those lentils is exceptional. Wow. Okay, so everybody still watching? I want to hear another nice who's out and yes, chef, please. And thank you. All that I'm doing at this stage is I'm just continuing to pluck. I'm plucking off all the leaves. I'm getting them off the stems. We'll be finishing the soup up with the parsley. Also, Misha, welcome on in. And once again, if you have any cooking questions, it can be about this dish, it can be about something else, please feel free to ask me. Remember, I'm here to teach you all how to cook at home. I'm here to teach you how to understand food. We were running late for a wedding, so my chef made me chop parsley with stems for the chicken sauce. We still got good feedback. I see. If you're running late, then I completely understand, but otherwise, yeah, I would not want to do stems inside of a sauce, right? Even though there's a lot of flavor inside of the stems themselves, they have such a toothsomeness, they have such a quality that I really do not like biting into. If you like the stems on cilantro, if you like the stems on parsley, please feel free to go ahead and do whatever you want. In that case, right? This is your soup. You get to make it to your own standards. In my case, I want something a little bit more refined. I want something a little bit more intentional. You know? You only eat the stems? I see, Taza. Thank you for the contribution. Ugh. Pluck them off, get them all out of here, show them who's boss, get them out, get them done with. Is this the better playing here? I hear good things about the show you put on the streamer. Well, hi Hyper, welcome on in. Is the better playing here? No, I'm better. That's the difference between me and the better. My food is better. Also, welcome on in. How'd you find the cooking show? Who recommended it to you? Who told you that there's good stuff happening here? Plucking off all this parsley, getting it out of here. I like the show, by the way. Like I've watched like season 1, I think, to completion, and then I barely started season 2. But it's definitely like really cheesy. It is so corny. And so I think that can make it like a little bit of a difficult watch sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Plucking off all the parsley. We're almost done, my friends. Last few. And let's also go ahead and get this little bundle as well. Again, my inspiration for today, I had leftover thyme, I had leftover parsley, I had all this leftover greenery, and so I wanted to be able to highlight all of it at once, and thus came the idea of doing such a beautiful little lentil soup today. Okay, excellent, excellent, excellent. I saw you in my recommended channels, and then you said, yes, chef, the moment I tuned in. Oh, you thought it was like a bear joke? I feel like every YouTube or like any food content creator, they do like a yes, chef thing at some point. But the difference is I just like it when people really listen to me. I like telling you all what to do. So all of my parsley has now been officially taken off the stem. And so this is where you all need to pay attention. Everybody, the most important thing that I talk about on this show, again and again and again without fail, is the importance of slicing and not chopping. We do not chop these herbs. We don't crush them. We don't destroy them. We don't do a vertical motion down. Not at all. We're going to be using the full length of the knife, and we'll be gently slicing them. The more that you crush them, the more that you chop them with a vertical force, the less of the knife surface area that you end up using, and the more the herbs end up oxidizing and browning, which is not what we're looking for at all. We want nice, vibrant, delicious, fresh parsley. We do not want completely decimated and destroyed parsley. So take a look. That's right, Hi Hyper. This is a cooking show. First and foremost, I'm here to teach you all how to cook. So take a look. I'm bundling up all of the parsley leaves in my hand. I'm bundling them up. I'm holding them nice and tight. I'm setting them down. Knife, engage. Guys, don't chop. Don't go brrr. Don't do a rock chop. Nice sharp knife, full length, slice it. Slice it. Slice it. I'm barely pushing down. I'm using the full length of the knife. This is how you preserve the quality of the parsley. This is how you stop it from turning brown and bleeding all over the cutting board. If your parsley looks wet by the time that you're done cutting it, that is how you know you've made a mistake. It needs to stay dry and green and bouncy. If it looks dark green and brown and wet, that is how you know that you have absolutely destroyed it. And by the way, this is all technique, no recipe here. So, Hi Hyper, if you have any questions about anything that we've done in this process, about any questions as to why or how to do something, or it can be about something else, feel free to ask me. So, give that bad boy a little rotation. I think it's exclamation mark YouTube. That's going to be the command for that, although I could also just probably double it up. Sharpness, not pressure. That's right. We're using the knife, we're using the full length of it, and we're slicing in beautifully. Guys, don't go brrrr. Rock chops, awful for the knife. You're taking this metal, you're grinding it into the hardwood of your cutting board. Terrible technique. I hate this technique, and nobody should be using it ever, quite frankly. Okay? Nobody, and I do mean nobody. There is never a time to be rock chopping in a kitchen, I quite firmly believe. It is bad for the knife, and typically speaking, especially with herbs, it can be bad for the food too. So, that is my parsley. I'm gonna give it one more pass all the way through. And I'm gonna go back to my stew and give it a little stir. It's gently simmering, it's gently bubbling away, but it's getting nice and rich and nice and thick at this stage, which is phenomenal. Just making sure I'm scraping off the bottom. I'm making sure that I'm scraping off any bits that could be potentially stuck. And so I'm looking at the viscosity of this again, guys, and in my mind, I'm going, yeah, this does not need to be this thick. This is a really, really thick stew at the moment. I think I might have added in too many lentils, but that is totally okay. All that we need to do is adjust with a little bit more water, and then subsequently adjust with a little bit more salt. So I'm gonna give this a taste. I'm not gonna blend the parsley in, I'm gonna finish it with the parsley, so the parsley doesn't overcook and lose its flavor. Okay? I believe that is actually all of my components that were destined for the lentil soup today. I'm mixing everything in, and now we taste this for seasoning once more. Taste it for spice, taste it for salt, taste it for anything that it could be potentially lacking. Get in there. Lentils are cooked. Also, Hannah's Cat Cafe, welcome on in. It is lovely to have you. I hope you're having an excellent day today. It's got a little bit of heat from the cayenne. That is perfect. Let's taste the potato. I want to see how the potato is cooked along. You know, I just bit into the potato, and it tastes like it could use a little bit more time. Don't make the pun. Don't make the joke. I think the potato is still a little bit under. I'm going to try another piece of potato to confirm my point. No, I lied. Potato's perfect, the soup is perfect, and now, my friends, it is gonna be time for us to blend it. I wanna blend just half of it. I want this to maintain a really, really good texture. First, this needs salt. The soup is a little bit bland. It's going to need a couple of big, aggressive pinches of kosher salt, and let's mix it in. I've already turned off the heat at this stage. Okay, mix it all in. Mix it in, mix it in, mix it in. Excellent. Give that another taste. Let's taste that for salinity. Much better. That is a massive improvement at this stage. And now, my friends, we begin to blend. We have taken it off the heat. It is no longer bubbling. It is no longer boiling. I am going to be using, as always, my trusty, my handy little Vitamix. Now, this is where you get a lot of creative control. You get to choose whether or not you want the stew fully blended. If so, blend it as it is. Use an immersion blender, use a Vitamix, use whatever you got. If you're using something like a NutriBullet or a Ninja Bullet, you have to let it cool down because they don't have an air vent. Okay, all the steam builds up and it traps it inside. And then that results in a lot of pressure and it damages the blender, and it can even also cause it to explode in some cases. So, nice silicone ladle. As always, never metal tools on an enamel Dutch oven. And I'm going to grab a nice generous amount. I'm going to grab basically like half of this in volume to blend up. And as all red lentils cook, they do tend to turn a little bit more orangey, and that is okay. That is totally normal for a lentil. They get a little yellowish, they turn a little bit more orangey. Totally normal, totally fine. Okay, and one more scoop. There you go. And the rest of this will be kept intentionally as solid chunks because I wanted something heterogeneous. I wanted something with a little bit of consistency to it. I don't want this to be completely smooth. Again, if you want a completely smooth soup, absolutely be my guest. You are more than welcome to go ahead and do so. Okay, so now, my friends, now is the stage where I put all of that back on into the blender and we blend this nice and smooth, nice and even. We have freshly baked bread. We have the freshly sliced parsley. We're not done quite yet. Minimum speed, turn it on. Get the lentils in there, and I want that half that I've taken out, I want that to be super, super smooth. I want it to be beautifully smooth, my friends. So blend it up, blend it up, blend it up, blend it up. Get it done. Nice and smooth all the way through. In the meantime, let's mix up some of the parsley. Just on as is. Turn it off, and everybody, I can now say with confidence that my soup is blended to my liking. It is blended to my taste. It has now done exactly what it needed to do for me. And so let's go ahead, and you can see how velvety, how creamy, how rich this soup has now become. That is going to be perfect. That is exactly what I needed. That is exactly what I wanted, my friends. Okay? So let's get all of that bad boy in there. Get them all inside. Get it all in there. Get it in, show it who's boss. Get the wooden spoon out and spoon it out. I love lentils, and so should you. Mix it all up. Mix it up, mix it up, mix it up. And that is the final texture and the consistency of the lentil soup that I was going for. It is thick, it is rich, it is delicious, it is creamy, it is flavorful, it has so many vegetables packed inside of it. The potato really, really helps it to blend up super, super smoothly. We're going to get a little bit of water in here just to be able to dissolve it all back in. The immersion blender would also be really good here, but I wanted this to be so like finely processed that an immersion blender would not be able to do as good of a job. All right, get all of that back in. Get all of it in, my friends, and get it all mixed up. And we're gonna probably need to season this with more salt because I just added in some more liquid. I added in some more moisture. But now, functionally speaking, that is done. That is done, and we can just about be ready to plate. So, more salt, I can tell you right now for a fact, it's gonna need it. It's absolutely gonna need more salt. Mix it all in. Mix it in. Mix it up. Get it off of the wooden spoon and in here. And let's give it another taste. That is delicious. That's wonderful. That's simple. You're getting the parsley, you're getting the thyme, a little bit of the cayenne, and from there it's all just plain old vegetables. So, definitely needs more salt though. I just gave that a little taste right now as it is, and in my mind I'm going, yeah, that needs more salt. I'm gonna go ahead and fill up my blender with water to stop it from drying out. Guys, do not leave your blender, especially with like blended beans and lentils. It will be a nightmare to clean if you let it dry. So, I'm filling up my blender with some nice hot water. To stop that from happening, I'm rinsing that out slightly. Get that off now, and you will thank yourself later. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to clean it right now because I'm ready to close up shop for today, but I am definitely just going to keep this nicely soaked in some water for sure. Okay, excellent. So, it definitely needs more salt. I'm gonna add the rest of what was left in my little pinch container of kosher salt. Look at this bad boy. I think that looks pretty good, doesn't it? It's creamy, it is thick, it is rich, it is fully saturated with vegetables, and above all else, it is also completely and entirely vegan, my friends. Okay. That is so good. It is so yummy. I'm continuing to stir it up. Again, I want to get rid of any and all potential pockets of salt that could have formed, and then I'll add in more salt. Yep, it needs the salt. There is no way around it. I know I keep talking about it over and over, but this is a big pot of soup. Guys, do not measure out the salt. Don't use tablespoons and teaspoons. You gotta go get a feel for it. We're gonna pinch some in and taste it. Pinch some in, taste it. Pinch some in, taste it. Big pinch, little pinch. Go in, let's season the soup up. I know this looks like a lot of soup. I know it looks like a lot of salt rather, but it is ultimately so important that this thing is nice and seasoned, my friends. So break it all up, get it all nice and dissolved inside. Scrape up the sides, scrape up the bottom. Get all of the sides, get everything back incorporated with the rest of the lentil soup. You can see that the potato, it's basically the glue of the soup, my friends. The potato holds it all together. That's it. We're so back. So, everybody, we're almost done. Last but not least, let's go ahead and slice some bread. You gotta have a lentil soup with some lemon. There is no universe in which you can have a lentil soup without the lemon juice. So, nice little lemon. Lemon all ready to go. Can I explain what a lentil is? Sure I can. A lentil is a pulse similar to that of a bean. As for where it exactly comes from on the plant, I would not be able to tell you, unfortunately. That might be a little bit too technical for me. Also, welcome on in, Shakel. So, I got some lemon, I got some parsley. Last but not least, my homemade soda bread, my friends. Let's go ahead and hack off a nice, big, proper, thick slice of the soda bread. Or two slices. That's one. Come on, out you go. Thank you, buddy. And that's two. Beautiful. Two big slices of that bad boy. And now, I think that we can plate. It is gonna be time for us to plate. I'm gonna grab a nice large bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and ladle in some of my beautiful lentil soup. There you go. I want a nice big portion for myself. I've deserved it. We have worked so hard to be able to get up until this point, my friends. Lentil soup is officially in the bowl. It is officially there. It has done exactly what it needs to. Oh, that's right. This is the epitome of a feel-good meal. Okay, lentil soup. Next, lemon slice. Let's go ahead. Well, first, I think I want to take a picture of this on like a plate. I think that would be nice for me. I think that would be nice for my intentions. Is this all gonna fit on a plate if I put it here? The answer is somewhat. That plate's a little bit too tacky for this specific plating, at least. Let's say this plate from the matching set. Oh yeah, I love these bowls too. They happen to be red and black, which are my favorite colors, and I got no complaints about that whatsoever. 1, beautiful. 2, my homemade soda bread. Excellent. 3, lemon slices. 4, a bunch of nice fresh parsley right on top. And then last but not least, a couple of little drops of olive oil, my friends. Couple of drops of olive oil going right in, just to be able to make the whole experience a little bit richer and a little bit more delicious. That is my lentil soup and my homemade soda bread. So let's go ahead and do one last recap session before we can dig in, before that we can eat. Everybody, homemade soda bread, no kneading, no nothing. Buttermilk, kefir, flour, salt, baking soda, mixed up, baked at 450, let to cool, and now it is crispy, it is crunchy, it has the perfect crumb inside of it. Lentil soup, sautéed mirepoix, carrots, onions, and celery inside of olive oil. Blended plum tomatoes, deglazed with white wine, garlic, fresh thyme, fresh parsley, red lentils going inside, of course, as well. And I got to take a nice, really, really nice photo, hopefully, before I do end up actually eating all of this all at once. So hopefully I'll be able to find an organization of this that actually ends up working aesthetically, question mark. And then what else did we add to it? A little bit of cayenne for some heat, parsley in there for the freshness, white wine to be able to deglaze it and give it a bit of extra flavor. It is completely vegan. The soda bread might not be, but this soup absolutely is. It is cheap, it is flavorful, it is delicious, and potato in there to thicken it. The lemon, an excellent garnish to be able to go ahead and add in an extra element of acidity. And so, I wanted to go ahead and grab a nice photo of this the best that I can. I think this might be too big to actually function as a coaster plate. But I really want to get a photo of this before we're done with this today. Oh yeah, that's a nice photo. That's a nice photo. Okay, now I'm not upset about that at all, quite frankly. And I'm gonna get a little photo with me getting some lemon juice on there as well. Excellent. Everybody, thank you so much for watching today. We're gonna go ahead and tuck in. I'm gonna go ahead and get myself a nice big old spoon, and then we can go ahead and enjoy the beautiful lentil soup that we've made today. So, my lemon juice is inside. Let's have a nice little taste. It is comforting. It is simple. Nice big hunk of soda bread. That's it. That's so good. Everybody, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for being a part of the cooking show. Every Friday, every Wednesday, and every single Sunday, 5 p.m. EDT. Next stream is going to be this Sunday, but this one is at 7 p.m. EDT as a heads up because I have commentary that day. 7 p.m. for this Sunday, all on Daramgar TV. Thank you all for being here. Please support the Patreon if you haven't already done so, or a Twitch subscription is good too. !mark Patreon in the chat, or go into the About section for the direct link. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being a part of the show. I hope you all have a really nice night, and I will see you all on Sunday. Bye-bye. 7 o'clock Sunday, not 5. Bye-bye.